What is going on, family? This is your girl, Courtney Michelle, the Renaissance Belle, and I am doing kind of an impromptu live. This is definitely inspired by today's live that I saw of the lead attorney and the Kevin Samuels. I don't think it was live, but it was pre recorded from a live that I just saw today, and I was thoroughly entertained. I thought it was really, really great information and had me thinking about some things. And so I wanted to come on live to maybe get you guys' opinion on what I thought. Of course, this is all about the April Mason interview that she did with the lead attorney. I saw all 6+ hours of it. Had a lot to say, but there was one particular part that I thought was interesting. So I am going to also bring in a friend of mine who I adore. You guys know her. Y'all be calling her auntie sometimes. I call her sister. So, what is going on, TJ? How are you?
Good evening. I am great. How are you, young lady?
Doing great. You look beautiful.
Well, my husband is coming home this evening, and
Hell.
I gotta, hey, I just made some vittles for him, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
for dessert.
Well, let's turn up. Come on, TJ, for the dessert part, whipped cream and
Yes,
all. Well,
yes.
you look amazing.
Thank you.
No problem. So, I am sure that you saw the interview with um, the lead attorney, and you also saw, I think, today when he was talking with Kevin Samuels. So I wanted to kind of talk about that situation, but there was a particular clip that I wanted to show. So I'm waiting for some more people to come in. But until then, tell me a little bit. What did you think of the interview in its totality?
Well, the part that I watched, I think the perspectives was very interesting. But if I must clue in, and I know we're going to get into it, if I must clue into what Miss Mason was saying, I struggled to find anything that she said that was wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's because of my age, my experience, my life that I could relate to some of the things that she was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things, though, I think wording is important. And I think there were
Yes.
some misplaced words, but I really, the meat of what she was
Mm-hmm.
saying, I really didn't have a problem with.
Yeah.
Um, but it has sparked a lot of conversation.
Oh,
And as I was getting ready for this live that we're doing here, I saw that a young lady, I think her name is Chantel Simone.
oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And she's a very, it's interesting because I've watched some of her content, and I can definitely see some of the things that she's saying and agree with some of the things she's saying. I mean, I don't take anything, I believe in what my mom say, I eat the chicken and leave the bone. So
Mm-hmm.
there are some things that she and other young ladies are saying that I think that are very insightful. So when I saw that she was doing a reaction to that portion of the video, I thought that I would take a look. You know how it comes up on your algorithm.
Right.
So I looked and I was listening to what her analysis of what Miss Mason was saying, and I just wrote, I disagree. And also, I think I wrote something to the effect that, I encouraged her
Mm-hmm.
to do her history as it relates to what Miss Mason was talking about, the women of the 40s and 50s and abusive relationships. That is a fact. And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that in not until the 70s was it against the law for a man to beat his wife.
Right.
So I was mentioning to her in my comments that I'm not sure how her articulating her experience, what she saw her mom's experience, and I'm not sure how that was blaming or shaming men. So to which she replied, let me go ahead and pull it up. I don't want to go off memory.
Okay.
Let me
And I
let
think what you're talking about, April Mason said something, and a lot of it got people talking about it,
mhm.
where she said women back then, she didn't want to go back to don't know if it was like the 30s or 40s or the 50s,
40s and 50s,
the
I think
40s
she
and
said.
50s,
Hmm.
because women didn't have resources to get out of abusive relationships. And then a lot of
True.
comments that I read, the men
Hmm.
said, and some women, of course, was saying it was the color purple effect as far as with black women always getting
Hmm.
beat. So I think that
Right.
that was a part of the interview that a lot of people had qualms about.
Right.
Right.
And so, I spoke to that, and to which this young lady replied, I'm laughing because I think she intended it to be an insult, but she said, "My heart goes out to old women like yourself
Mm,
who are stuck in your hurt and trauma." I laughed because if her saying that I'm old is supposed to be an insult, it really isn't, because I'm grateful to be older, you know. But I said, "No need, honey. I mean, sweetheart." I
hmm.
said, "I acknowledge my hurt, but I'm not stuck in it.
Right.
I've done the work, and from many years of many mistakes, and I'm
Hmm.
happily married, and I wish the same for you."
Mm,
So, if we're talking about women becoming better
yeah.
so they can be better for themselves and also for their mates, I really don't see how this was beneficial as to what she needed to put, you know.
Yeah.
Now she can, but it's her channel. She can do what she wants. But I thought it was very interesting that her heart goes out to old women like me who are
Wow.
married.
Well, I definitely apologize that I don't think that was necessarily appropriate to say to anyone. And again, we don't know who's hurt or who's bitter, but if I disagree, it's just a disagreement. Let's have the conversation about the disagreement.
Right.
So, well, I'm sorry that happened, CJ.
Oh, I think it says more about her than me.
CJ, grow them, TJ.
Yes, grow real is what I say. But let's get into it. Let's talk
All
about
right,
it.
yeah. So let's get into it, TJ. We got a couple people in chat. What is going on? I see you, Bobby M, Ron P, Red Lipstick Vibes Podcast. Hello, what's going on? Royce Rance. I'll be working with him soon. Rasta Baby. So thank you guys for joining. Let's go ahead and show the clip that I was talking about that I wanted to talk about specifically in that interview. And I'll go ahead and bring it up. Let's see. All right, let's rock. Let's see.
Over the last 2 years, although, people say, why would she close if she was, making money? No, it's very lucrative. Put it like this. I'm going to keep it at 1,000 with you. If you ever want to make a lot of money, join the dating industry and give women fluff. You see,
Derrick Jackson. We all know Derrick Jackson making bank.
I mean, it's not, because you got to remember, these women, a lot of these women, not all, because when I say these women, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking from an experience of over 10 years of this. Wow. So I've dealt with them from all different ranges. So it's safe to say, for me to say, that when women came to me, they didn't come to me to become better. They came to me for a better, for access to a better penis. That's what they did. So me,
let me pause that, TJ. Okay. I'm gonna pause that because I thought that was interesting. So women was coming to her in essence to elevate the men that they wanted, i.e., she said to get better penises.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't disagree with that, possibly. I don't, because
well, that's
wow.
what I mean. I think people go to dating coaches because their outcome is not what they want. And they're
Mm-hmm.
looking for something better. And so I think people are going to dating coaches saying, hey, I want a better selection of men, better penises, so she says. And so
I would agree with that, but I think, and I don't want to get ahead, but I'm thinking they were going for better penises, not realizing that the penis wasn't necessarily the issue. It was
Right.
them.
Grow him, TJ. All right, let's listen more.
My best friend told me, he said, April, you're going to have to disconnect or divorce yourself from their results. But I'm like, no, man, because this worked. It worked for me. It worked, because I'm all excited. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Girl, you get yourself right. You do this. Become the feminine woman for you first. The man is the byproduct. The man is not the reason why you're here. He is the byproduct. If you do these things, you're not in a hurry to get married. And so people would always ask me, how do you do what you do when you're not married? I said, because I am a walking example of what I teach. See, people think that the man is the validator. Although I love you guys, I love a man, just the way y'all walk and how y'all smell and just all of that, right? Mm-hmm. But you're the byproduct. Mm-hmm. See, women would think or question me, she don't have a husband. Because I wasn't supposed to have a husband while I was going through developing who April was. If I would have remarried during that time, I would have been divorced again.
Let me go back though. Let me jump up because that sounds deep. I've never heard anybody say that. When you say men are the byproduct, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, sure. What I mean by men is the byproduct doesn't mean that we don't need you. What it means is when you become a dope woman for yourself first, the type of man that you want will easily come along. Mm. So the man is the byproduct of you becoming a dope woman. You don't become a dope woman for the man. And so that's why a lot of men say, well, when I got with her, after I got her locked in, she changed. Yes, because she only was that to get you. She did not become that. So in my dating academy, I used Teach Me How to Date as the bait. That was the sugar to get them in there. Women that actually did the work in my dating academy will tell you, my whole life changed. My money changed. How I got that promotion on my job. So I just had to use the man as the bait to get them to know themselves better because women aren't doing that for real. Yes, women are going to more conferences. Yes, women are picking up more, books to read, but they're not doing the hard work to transform. It's difficult to go through the emotional pain that come with change. I had to realize I wasn't as dope as I thought I was. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. But that was on the outside. Your end result will always tell you how dope or how dope you're not. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't because when you said men are the byproduct, because the more dope a woman becomes, maybe the better the man that she can pull can be. Like I resonate with that. I think I like that. But then when you kept going, you were talking about women making money more on their job, women getting these promotions. And that's where a lot of men would be like, well,
okay, let me explain that.
Okay.
I'll explain it to you. So this is what I mean. I teach living a feminine lifestyle. Living a feminine lifestyle means even when you go to work, your energy is you're dominant in the feminine, not necessarily the masculine, all that.
I'm going to go ahead and pause it there. Because she said a lot of stuff that I want to dissect. So let's get them off. Okay. So she said a lot. But first, I want to kind of go back to where she was talking about the first part that I paused, right? Is the women wasn't going there for themselves. They were going there for to get a better penis. And then she was using the bait of men to get them in her dating arena. So she was like, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to date. But it was in essence a trick to get the women in so she could try to work on them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you see an issue with that, with her baiting, getting how to get a good man, but really not teaching them how, but trying to work on themselves?
Well, I do, but I don't. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because essentially it was marketing. Essentially, so she says bait, but it was marketing. Marketing to look, marketing,
Okay.
But hoping that, dangling the carrot, saying that this will get you, a better man. but hoping when you get there that you will see, okay, well, me getting a better man is not necessarily the issue, but it was a bait and switch. But
Right.
here's the thing, isn't that done in a lot of commercial industries?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying I understand. It's a
Right.
marketing strategy.
I
You know.
agree. And and I agree, a marketing strategy. But I think it didn't necessarily turn out right. And I think that's the reason why she was only doing this with women for a year. So I think a lot of
Mhm.
people been thinking that she was doing this matchmaking thing for a long time, which she wasn't. She started, I think, in 2019, ended 2020. So she only lasted a year. And I think in essence that was the problem, is that women were coming in trying to learn how to date, but you wasn't teaching them how to date. You was trying to, dig deeper into them and teach them how to be feminine.
And they didn't
And that's
want
not what they wanted.
that. So
They
right.
came in there for what she said, better penis.
I
So
want to
you
get a
start,
man.
I want to get a man. What are you talking about? Be nice and sweet and cook. You having me work on me? No, I want you to tell me how to get this particular man the good penis. So good penis, the better penis. So another thing that she said that I found interesting as well too is that she wasn't teaching women how to be feminine. She was teaching women pretty much how to act feminine.
Mm.
Did you
Okay,
hear me? She said
that was
that.
is that what she said?
Let me play it back.
Interesting.
I'll play it back. Let's see.
Themselves better because women aren't doing that for real. Yes, women are going to more conferences.
Let me see. Oh, let me play.
Women that actually did the work in my dating academy will tell you my whole life changed. My money changed. How I got that promotion.
No, let me find it first.
That's what they gave me before. So one of my best friend told me, he said, April, you're gonna have to disconnect or divorce yourself from their results. But I'm like, no, man, because this worked. It worked for me. It worked, because I'm all excited. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Girl, you get yourself right. You do this. Become the feminine woman for you first. The man is the byproduct. The man is not the reason why you're here. He is the byproduct. If you do these things, you're not in a hurry to get married. And so people would always ask me, how do you do what you do when you're not married? I said, because I am a walking example of what I teach. See, people think that the man is the validator. Although I love you guys, I love a man, just the way y'all walk and how y'all smell and just all of that, right? Mm-hmm. But you're the byproduct. See, women would think or question me, she don't have a husband, because I wasn't supposed to have a husband while I was going through developing who April was. If I would have remarried during that time, I would have been divorced again.
Let me go back though. Let me jump up because that sounds deep. I've never heard anybody say that. When you say men are the byproduct, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, sure. What I mean by men is the byproduct doesn't mean that we don't need you. What it means is when you become a dope woman for yourself first, the type of man that you want will easily come along. So the man is the byproduct of you becoming a dope woman. You don't become a dope woman for the man. And so that's why a lot of men say, well, when I got with her, after I got her locked in, she changed. Yes, because she only was that to get you. She did not become that. So in my dating academy, I used Teach Me How to Date as the bait. That was the sugar to get them in there. Women that actually did the work in my dating academy will tell you my whole life changed. My money changed. How I got that promotion on my job. So I just had to use the man as the bait to get them to know themselves better, because women aren't doing that for real. Yes, women are going to more conferences. Yes, women are picking up more, books to read, but they're not doing the hard work to transform. It's difficult to go through the emotional pain that comes with change. I had to realize I wasn't as dope as I thought I was. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. But that was on the outside. Your end result will always tell you how dope or how dope you're not.
Mm-hmm. Because when you said men are the byproduct, because the more dope a woman
Courtney,
becomes.
Yeah.
I didn't, unless I missed it, I didn't hear her say that she was wanting them to act feminine.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that she was
I thought I
trying
heard
to,
that at the beginning, but you
yeah,
were trying. Go
and
ahead,
I may
TJ.
have missed it. I may have missed it, but I was thinking, I thought I heard her say
Mm-hmm.
that in the end that they did act that way, to get the man, and then they didn't continue being that way. And that's what she said, that they were acting feminine to get you, but they
Okay.
weren't being feminine because that's who they had become.
Right.
That's what I heard.
Okay.
Now,
Which
Chad,
I
tell me
can
if I'm
see in that,
wrong.
which I think is true.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's why she had to use the bait to get the women in there. But if the women don't want to learn how to be feminine, then how is the class going to work?
Because many of us didn't think that we were the problem. I think that therein lies the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, those are facts. So let's go on and let's talk about being the byproduct. So we had a discussion today. And at first, I was like, well, what's wrong with being a byproduct? And I was using it in a sense of, if you exercise and you eat right, health is the main thing. But the byproduct of it is you look good, you feel good. That's a great thing. So that's where I was getting it. And then I had to kind of dive in to see exactly what byproduct means. So let me pull that up. And for anybody that's slow like me, that might be confused as far as what is the byproduct? What does that mean? So I pull it up. So what byproduct means, terminology there, is something that is produced as a result of making something else, or something unexpected that happens as a result of something else. So using that as I'm going to get myself together and the man as a byproduct, I do find that it's negative. Now, I don't know if she meant it that way, but I'm getting myself better for me to do my thing, and maybe it's career and everything. And the byproduct is the man. He's the secondary to what I need or want. Everything is kind of focused on me, and then if I get this man on the side, great. So that's how I'm kind of taking it now, understanding what byproduct really means.
Would you put that definition up there again, please? Something that is produced as a result of making something else. So let's look at that for a second.
Okay.
So something that is produced. So let's say we're talking about the man is produced, or we as women are able to identify a quality man because we have made ourselves, which is the something else, better. So my question, would it have been such an issue if she would have said, instead of byproduct, if she would have said added benefit?
Would that still be an issue? I would probably say it would be.
You think?
I think so. And this is why I think that is a benefit, meaning, again, I go to work. I have a career. My main reason for a career is really I got to pay bills. However, this job, the benefits of it, it's something secondary. And I think with men, especially in this space, and why I think they got mad, I understand where she's coming from. In essence, men say this about women as well, too. Level up, get yourself together. A woman will come. When, you always get a woman. I think she's saying the same thing, but it's men are now feeling like maybe an accessory.
Okay.
So it's a benefit. It ain't the reason why I'm not doing this for you.
And the reason why I don't take such exception with it, and again, my point of view is, if you look hard enough, anything can offend you.
Right.
Are you listening, chat? If you look hard enough, anything can and will offend you. Because I use myself as an example. I needed to do the inner work because she said something that was very telling. Well, my hubby just texted me. Anyway, she said that, she thought she was fine and all this kind of stuff, but she wasn't getting the result.
Right.
So that meant there was some inner work that needed to be done. I take myself as an example. Yeah, I'm a reasonably attractive 50 plus woman, but back in the day, I was fine. But had I not done the work that was needed, I wouldn't have even recognized what a man Mr. Randolph was. And like she said, she wasn't married because she didn't need to be married, because if a man would have came in while she was doing the work that she needed to do, she would have been divorced again. Why? Because she wouldn't have recognized the kind of man he was. Now, her word choices, I don't necessarily agree with. When she said the man will come, I don't necessarily agree with that, especially now for her, that may be true because she runs in different circles than the average woman like myself.
Right.
But what I would have said is, once the woman has done the work, not that the man will come, but that she will be able to identify him when he does. Identify him when he does.
Right.
That's what I say on that.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I don't think any woman really is saying, it's not like it's a plethora of men that's just running after women like that. Especially just the average woman, the average man, average woman, we just living life averagely. So I don't know. Like I said, the byproduct is what I think a lot of men had issues with, because I can definitely see where it takes kind of a tone of, we're secondary. And of course, men don't want to be secondary. Men have egos. They want it stroked and they want to feel like, the lead, the head of the household. How can a man be head of the household and then also be a byproduct?
I think the message got lost in the sauce. Because in my opinion, what she was saying, which is very true, no different than the man needs to be whole himself. I believe she was telling the women, because if you're not being feminine, if you're not being, and let's not even talk about dope. Let's talk about self-actualization. Let's talk about that.
Now,
Explain
that.
Well, self-actualization, meaning you have ideas and hopes and goals for yourself.
Right.
Spiritually, mentally, physically, attitudinally.
Right.
So when you've done all those things, you have goals and you've accomplished those goals for yourself. That is self-actualization. You can say dope, but I choose not to. I'm 54. But but if she, I think people again got lost in the sauce because all she was saying is basically get yourself right, because if it's not right for you, it's not going to be lasting.
Right. I agree.
And I think,
I'm also, go ahead. I'm sorry, TJ.
No, that's it.
Okay. Welcome to the panel, Man of Prestige. I want to get what you had to think about this, but in particularly, again, we're talking about this byproduct and how did you feel about man being a byproduct? And also, I'm putting the link in the stream. I want this to be kind of a call-in because, like I said, the byproduct, I think, had a lot of people upset, especially men. So I kind of want to see why, because I think some of us women are kind of like, I understand what she meant. I don't think the wording was absolutely correct. It could have been worded a hell of a lot better.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Courtney. So
Hello.
nice to meet you.
You as well.
Yes, awesome. Miss TJ, good to see you again. All right, awesome. So, so I'm starting to become. I was a little bit more sensitive to how the women feel. When I stumbled into this community on YouTube. I'm a married man. I've been married for 14 years, so I understand the game. I wasn't. I'm hearing a feedback. Is that me or you? Oh, that's on your end. Okay. All right. So
Go ahead.
All right, good. So I wasn't always as sensitive to the man. I basically I leave my foot on the neck of the man. But I'm a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
sensitive to them now. I'm starting to hear them. I feel like the man needs to be heard. I think the noise is quite a lot, and I have to also pay attention to that, especially if I'm going to be some kind of want my opinion to be valued in this space. So I can see where the men are coming from because I'm paying a little bit more attention to it. The truth is that the men of this generation, they are quite a little bit different from what I'm familiar with. They are more in touch with how they feel. They may not necessarily admit it, right? But it can make them like they pick on things. They pick on condescensions. They pick on sarcasm. They pick on the
Mm-hmm.
sign language. I don't know if you guys saw that episode, but
I know what you mean.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to also be aware, especially if we want to engage the men. If this is the generation that we're gonna have to engage, either me as a mentor or you ladies as a potential partner, we have to pay attention to things that can trigger them. So if you say the word byproduct, you call it a whole human byproduct. Can you imagine if that was a woman that was called a byproduct? Can you imagine the kind of backlash that could come from that, right? So men are not supposed to react to that. Maybe
Right.
that's the previous definition of what men were supposed to be, but they are reacting and they're not appreciating that, especially if you come on a man's platform. When I saw the first post some few weeks ago with April Mason, because I'm familiar with her from before, I'm like, oh my God, the manosphere is about to be finessed because they took that talking point, they ran with it. Oh my God, she said she quit. She's not going to train the ladies. She's not going to coach the ladies anymore, right? But I knew that was coming. So when she decided to come up last week, I was like, okay, it's about to go down. And it went down because, again, if you take one line, one talking point, right, and you run with it, this is what happens because you haven't taken the time to hear the context, right? But it's happening all over again. We're taking the word byproduct, we're running with it. But it is what it is. The point is that the byproduct word is triggering the men. That's just what's going on.
Yeah.
I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it that way personally, but I can see why they would take it that way.
Well, tell me how you took it.
I took it as the exact meaning of byproduct. The byproduct means just by the way. Now, if you personalize it, it feels like you're secondary to whatever else
Mm-hmm.
is, you're not priority, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't about me. The conversation wasn't about me. So why should I take it that way? What she was talking about is that if you focus on certain parts of your life, certain things happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real meaning of byproduct. Now, if I'm triggered and I personalize it, it takes on a whole new meaning. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm supposed to be just by the way, like, I'm supposed to be the focus, right? But the thing is that I would teach young men the same thing. A lady should be a byproduct. You should be
Mm-hmm.
focused on whatever you're here to do in this life, which shouldn't be about the woman. The woman is not her as the person that's the byproduct. That becomes part of the things you will attract love, you attract a good life, you attract a very nice young lady that will love you to death, just the same way
Mm-hmm.
you love her if you focus on your purpose. So if I use the word byproduct, if a young lady decides to personalize that or take it personally, then we got a problem. That's what's going on. It could happen on both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I
I don't
understand that. Go
I don't
ahead,
think I could have
Michelle.
said it any better. You're absolutely right. And I think, as I stated, a person can, if you look hard enough or try hard enough, you can be offended by anything. And again, maybe poor choice of words, but I understood because I sought to understand.
Yeah.
You seek to understand before you seek to be understood. I sought to understand what she was saying. What she was trying to say is no different, like you said, Ola, than what you would tell young men.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be together so you can identify and recognize when you have a good woman. But if you are not self-actualized, you're not even
Mhm.
going to recognize it when you see it, or you're not going to appreciate it when you see it. That's all she was saying. That's what I took, because I
Yeah.
chose to understand
Yeah,
what she was
absolutely.
saying.
I just did a taping today, something
Mhm.
similar, and what I said, one of the, it's like I give this points, like this bullet points, right, and say, well, first of all, you are the price. I said that to the young man that's watching, right? You are the price. The next point was that if you think she's the price, be okay with that. You want that. You want that kind of woman who has a adequate, healthy self-esteem,
Mhm.
who feels like she's the prize. It's not time to battle or compete with her because she feels like she's the prize. You see what I'm saying? But first of all, you should feel like the
Yeah.
prize, but there's a good chance she doesn't want you if you don't feel like you're a prize.
Mhm.
So when we're talking about this, we try to
Yeah.
pretend like we're not talking about romantic relationships, but that's precisely what we're talking about. We try to pretend like this is all about duty, honor, and all of this stuff, but emotions and feelings are involved.
That's why I'm dressed like this, because my
And
husband's
you
coming
look
home
beautiful.
and I want to look good. You understand me? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And see, that's why I'm dressed like this. And, he sees me as a prize, but I see him as a prize. That's why I'm dressed like
Mhm.
this. That's
Mhm.
why I lost 30 pounds and since I met him, and
Right.
still trying to get, because hey, but what's wrong with that? And Courtney, can we go to that piece about validation when she was talking about that?
Oh, yeah, give me one moment. Let me pull it back up. Well, let's talk about it. I'm gonna go back to there, but I got
Yeah, we don't have
something
to
that
see. I
I
just
want
want
to
to
add
talk
on here
about it.
too.
I just want to talk about
Well,
it. We don't
well,
have to
let's
go
talk
back to
about
it.
it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, because I think that was important too. Because she talked about validation and then she talked about validation, and pretty much from what I gather was like, women shouldn't seek validation to men. TJ, is that what you heard as well?
Well, I did, and I think, well, I'm going to disagree to an extent, because I do
Okay.
seek
So,
validation from my husband. I do. I
right.
do. I absolutely
Me
do.
too.
I absolutely do.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what's important is
I don't have a husband, but I mean for my partner.
but I think it's important, validation from the right people, and I think we talked about it earlier. Are we talking validation, or are we talking attention? Because those are two different things.
Right. Let me put this back up.
So I think validation. There are six emotional human basic needs, right? I stole this from Tony Robbins, right? There's significance. We all want to feel significant. That's one of them, right?
Hmm.
And we all, no matter, this is not about something you have to admit. We all don't mind validation from other people. The problem becomes is if you need validation to be happy, if you need validation to be whole, to be wholesome, right? That's when it becomes problem, because you're just going to drain and suffocate and smother the other person to death, right? Is
Yeah.
the validation seeking behavior that can become toxic. But we start capping when we say we don't appreciate validation. We do appreciate validation. It makes us feel better, every single one of us, especially a man. We call it ego, right? You stroke the ego of a man, he tends to do more of whatever he was doing when you said it. He connects the dots and he does more of that, right? So in terms of what April was talking about, right? Does the man coming I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but I felt
Yeah.
like at some point I start feeling like the word salad. I want to avoid using all the terminologies so I don't misfire again. But the word salad, but that's what they do. She's trying to explain a point, right? Now, in terms of does a man validate a woman? Yes,
Yeah. So,
but bring it down to feelings. Bring it down
well,
to
let's
feelings.
Well, let's go over definition. There was a good question that someone had. What was the difference between attention and validation? Because I definitely think that a lot of people think it's very, very synonymous. So I wanted to put up validation. Again, I like words, but I want to use them correctly.
Right.
So right here we got validation, the act or process of making something officially or legally acceptable, proof that something is correct. And I think this is what I'm meaning. This is the last one is recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
So when she says, you don't seek, validation from your man, me, I think you should, as far as your spouse. And I think both should be seeking validation. So when she said that, again, understand what she meant. I think more as far as what she was going with attention. Definition of
Mm.
attention, the action of dealing with or taking special care of someone or something, notice taken or someone or something, the regarding of someone or something as interesting or important. So drawing attention for me, it's, you kind of look like, oh, I'm interested. Okay. So when people are wanting attention, they want a whole lot of people looking at them of interest. But for validation, it's what I'm saying to you matters. How I'm feeling matters. So it's more of an intimacy of validation that I think that we need to be speaking of. And that is needed for, relationships um, to work.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm going to go
Yeah.
ahead and
So
give her the
so
chance
so
of,
so real
uh-huh.
question for you, Courtney. Uh, is that particularly as far as women to her husband or partner concerned? Is that what you mean? Are we
Mhm.
talking just in that context only, as far as
Well,
validation?
I'm talking about that. Now, seeking
Gotcha.
validation as far as you're wanting your opinions worthwhile to other people,
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily see a problem with that either, depending on the person. Like, I want my
Right.
mom, my family, to
Right.
validate me as well. I think those are the most important validations because I actually care. Now, seeking validation from strangers,
Yeah.
And that goes to the intimacy part. So that the intimacy is the connection, the relationship. So anyone that matters to you and you matter to them, yes, you're gonna, I mean, no
yeah.
different than my daughter wants to be validated that I'm proud of her, like I want, those are the things. But for someone like the young lady who wants to call me an old woman, which okay. So
Mhm.
okay, okay, if that's
Yeah.
is that all
And
you got?
and the thing is, even because she said that, because you're not seeking validation, you're able to rub that off your shoulders. And that's the difference. If you were seeking validation from people that you don't know,
Exactly.
it would have you would have a problem with it. So
Yep.
again, April Mason, again, I understand where she was coming from. The don't be looking for validation for your man, but no, validation is important.
I do.
Yeah, hello. Hi,
I
brother
do.
Clarence.
Hi, how you doing, Courtney?
You're
How you
doing
doing?
good. Thank you
All
for
right.
joining us this evening.
What's going on, OLA? What's going on, Miss TJ? How y'all doing? First of all, I want to say I'm proud of you for
Oh, thank
stepping
you.
out on your own, and I mean, no journey is without a couple of bumps, stumbles along the way. But after you get the hang of it, you'll get it. So congratulations,
Thank you.
and best wishes to you on making your channel grow. Now, I had a question that
Mhm,
I asked in the chat, which was, what's the difference between attention and validation? So I
mhm,
can know. I think I might know, but you guys were talking about validation. What's the difference between validation and attention?
mhm. So that's what I was discussing. And this is me, and if TJ and okay, men of procedure, you
Ola.
want to go that Ola,
You call
okay,
me Ola.
you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
go that, that's fine. So for me, when I think about someone getting attention, it's me doing something for onlookers to see and to like what they see or to show of interest of. So if I bring an attention to something, is I'm interested in this or I'm spotlighting something. But for me, validation is a little bit more intimate. It is I want you to care about my emotions, my opinions, my thoughts. And I don't need you to sweep my validations under the rug, my feelings under the rug. I need it to be validated. I'll put this up too because I read this. How if you're not validated in a relationship, how it does harm the relationship. And what validation is also a form of communication. um see it. This may be done denying, minimalizing, ridiculing, ignoring or judging the other's feelings or perceptions, regardless of the means. The effect is clear. The other person's feelings are judged as unimportant or wrong. So if you're not validated, this is what people are feeling that's not validated. You need this in your relationship. So you need to be validated by your partner.
What I see, and then just really quick, validation means it's synonymous with importance versus attention is noticing something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's important. It just means that you've noticed it and that's the attention. Whereas that validation goes to the credibility of something and the importance or the deemed importance of something or someone. That's how I took it.
Mhm. What do you
Yeah,
think, Brother Clarence? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ole.
yeah. So to me, right? I just want again these conversations. We try to pretend like we're not talking about romantic relationships, but that's what we end up talking about, right?
Hmm.
The truth is that words do change meanings all over the place because of context. Dictionary meanings fall short all the time, and here's how it falls short. You may be more entangled up with your dictionary meaning, the other person may not be. And then there's a disconnect in communication, right? Just like that, right? So when we're talking about validation in the context of a relationship, doesn't even have to be romantic, right? The person feels significant, they feel important. The key word is feel. It doesn't mean, like somebody just said, it doesn't mean they're not important. As a matter of fact, you may start a heated argument with them that they are important, but they don't feel important. And the fact that they don't feel important takes on the energy of that relationship. Either you acknowledge it or not. It doesn't, you don't have to admit to it. You can just look at what's going on and you see that the feelings take over your relationship 85% of the time more than the reality. It becomes the reality because at least one person is feeling some type of way. And when you disagree with that, that's precisely your feelings doing that. You see what I'm saying? So now validation and attention, they can be interwoven. They can be a subset of each other, right? If you don't give your girl attention, she may start to feel invalidated. This
There you
is
go.
this is something I'm guilty.
There you
I've
go.
been doing this for 14 years. She be like, you didn't notice my hair? I was like, I do, babe. That looks beautiful, right?
I
And the
like
thing is
that.
that I see her every day. She's always dressed up and always looking beautiful. So it's kind of easy to take anything that's readily available for granted. We all do it. It's called complacency, right? So it's not about the dictionary meanings when these things start to play out in your personal relationships. It's about the other person's feelings, which you can effectively start arguing with them and disagree with them, and it can take over. I think dictionary meanings they are two different things. Yes, attention means you notice something. Attention means we're just talking about it in marketing. April Mason, right? She needs to get your attention before she starts sowing seeds. Some people interpret that as you're deceiving us, right? So it is what it is. But validation is a little bit deeper when we're talking about within the context of relationship, and it's not something about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about does the person feel validated or not.
Well, I kind of want to push back a little bit on that because I think that's the way we've kind of the society has kind of uh, taught us how to be. I think validation is probably going to come from somebody you really care about, as opposed to attention can come from anyone. I can accept attention from anyone, but it's going to be difficult for me to get validated from anyone. But because of social media, now you can get validated without even the person really being there, right? You can get validation from the attention, which is really not how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go
The like
through,
buttons.
well, you're supposed to get in my opinion, you're supposed to get the validation from somebody you intimately acquainted with. and that
Yeah.
person can validate you. And then no matter what everybody else says, whether they give you attention or not, whether they validate you or not, that's not an issue. But you can get attention from anywhere. It's like I I don't want to say too much. So let me say it like this. It's like when a lot of times when I'm talking to a woman will say,
Mhm.
I'll ask, well, have you, have you been married or are you married? And they'll say, no, but I got men in my DMs. And I'll say, but that doesn't mean they want to marry you.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean they want to marry you. They want something else, but you're equating it with this, but that's not actually what's the situation, what was going on. Like Brother
Yeah.
OLA said, with you're not thinking in the right way about what's the reality of the situation. So that's all I'm saying about the validation. Because when I heard her on the and I'm assuming you guys talking about when she came on the TLA program,
Mhm.
she came
Right.
on and she was talking about April Mason. When she came on and she was talking, now most of us, I'm gonna tell you what it looked like to us. What it looked
Mhm.
like to us was, mishmash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ever fed pigs? It looked like that when you just
Mhm.
dump a bucket or whatever in there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's all over the road. You like, what is she talking about? We
Yeah.
thought she was on this page, but then when she actually came out and started talking, we found out, oh, okay, she just got a different way of setting up the game. She don't have,
Yeah.
she's not setting up the game like Derek Jackson was straight out setting up the game this way.
Okay.
She came out and completely said, hey, if you want to make money, pander to women, but in a certain way.
Which is true. And
That's
that's
what she
what
said.
Derek Mason. And I'm hearing feedback from somebody. I don't know where.
Oh,
But that's not
That's
me.
it. Oh, thank you. Well, this is what I want to ask you guys too, because I also see something that is interesting too from when she came out saying that she doesn't deal with black women anymore. They're unrealistic. They don't understand. I just can't deal with them. She got championed in the sphere. Everybody, you see, there she goes. She's another woman is saying she can't even find y'all a man. They was so excited. Then she got on here, and as soon as she said something that men didn't like, over, done. Now and then it's of course the whole chameleon thing came out. Y'all know I know about that. But but I find it interesting because I'm like, well, you guys didn't know her. All she said was that she couldn't deal with black women, and then she became champion, but you did not know her. How can she become a chameleon when you didn't even know her stance? So I found that was interesting. And then I think once that kind of came up, and then men were like, well, a couple years ago, she lied on black men. And the lie was, because one of her cousins said that she was about
Yeah, that's
3
right.
black men were going to
Yeah.
kidnap her, and then it turned out to be a lie, and then she didn't apologize. So, knowing the history of her, what happened a few years ago, that's why some people were upset. But I didn't see that, and I don't think a lot of us knew. A lot of people that I know didn't necessarily know that history.
Right.
So again, this up and down with her, and I need some understanding on it.
Well, and also I didn't know anything about it, but what I find very interesting is that it has still happened when they were championing her. So what difference does it make if it didn't make a difference that her cousin had lied when they were on the bandwagon when she said she quit black women? Why does it make a difference now?
I think black men see, we were talking about validation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've always had these feelings that women, especially the sisterhood, have been treating us a certain way. That's our feeling.
Mm-hmm.
When she came out saying, I'm not with black women no more, and I'm not teaching the black women no more, there goes the validation of our feelings that, oh, okay, now
I
it's
like that.
somebody
I
in
like
their
that.
camp. It's somebody in their camp that's saying it. Now it ain't just us. It's
You
somebody
felt
in your own camp
validated.
saying that, right?
You felt
So
validated.
yeah, so that's why they was with her. So when she came on the TLA program and she did a 180, they was like, what happened? You know, it was, what happened?
But the fact still remains that her cousin had still lied and she hadn't apologized. So why was it overlooked
When
before?
it was overlooked when she was talking
Before.
about Black women. But
But
now
now it's not
now
overlooked
we're
now.
bringing it back up.
It's the same event.
I mean, it's the sorry to say, it's the hypocrisy, you know. That's what
Thank
it
you for
is.
being honest.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of guys knew about it though.
They didn't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah, I don't think
They
I
didn't know
definitely
her.
didn't.
They didn't know her. I think what it is that when, like Brother Clarence said, when we all do it, when somebody speak to your point or how you feel validated, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
probably willing to do less digging up on them. Like you're not looking all over the place for their dirt. That's not what you're
Yeah.
looking for. As a matter of fact, you're trying to protect them. There was another TLA streaming where a gentleman was actively trying to protect a bunch of guys that are basically fake, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because he said these are my homies, these are my best friends, right? So this is just how we do
Talking about
as
Donovan Sharp.
pretty, yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. So this is just what we do as humans. We need to remember that we're humans and we're biased by default, right? This is why you don't go to your mother, your father for relationship advice, because even, like, for example, my personal example, when my wife, some few years back, when she ran to my parents, they wanted to make her feel like they're not defending me. That is by default bias, even
Mm-hmm.
though they were actively trying to push against not doing it. You see what I'm saying? So we're biased by default, and that's what you saw transpire there. And the moment she said something or she spoke in a little bit longer, and we heard some context like whoa, 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 and then people
Yeah.
started coming out of the woodworks with all of these different things. She's been exactly who she's
Who
been.
she is.
She's a businesswoman. She's a coach. She coaches women. She leads with what women want.
Yeah.
In the process of dealing with individuals, you will, just like in this situation, you will hear
Mm-hmm.
context. She may go a little bit deeper. You want too much. You are unrealistic with what you're
Mm-hmm.
seeking, right? She's not gonna say that on the marketing pieces. That's not how this
Yeah.
works, right? She's gonna draw you in with what you want or what you think you want. Maybe that's not actually what you want.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
that's
ahead,
why I'm not going to
TJ.
be a coach because I'm not that. You'll be growed real. If I need to grow you real, I'm not going to co-sign on no foolishness. So that's why I'm not a businesswoman because I will grow you.
There you go.
With love, of course.
Now she did clap back a couple hours ago. I'm gonna show this. I pulled up her page.
Oh, nice. Let's see
She did a
that.
clap back. Now this is huge. Let me see. I'll read it out. I know it's kind of small on there. Well, I'm not gonna read all of it, y'all. Mm-mm. But she added the lead attorney and Kevin Samuels on here. Let's see. Can I get this a little bigger? I know I can. Well, we'll worry about that another time. She said, like I said over a year ago, Black males will never get an apology from me. Why? Because it turned out my cousin was telling the truth. But Black males didn't go run and make videos and spread that. They immediately sided with their enemy. What happened to the F the police? This is because they couldn't accept that someone that looks like them would do something so horrible and were called out on their behavior. You can't say it was well documented if you didn't even know this has been plastered all over my social media for almost 2 years. I don't mind you using my name for clout, but damn, at least get your facts straight. Scroll below to read the entire post from January 2020. I'm talking about Black males, not Black men. They are not the same. Black men have always held me down. And blah, blah, blah. So I don't
yeah.
know what that.
She seems like
Damn, damn,
I
damn.
mean, it seems like she's trying to like put out the fire,
Mm-hmm.
but because Kevin Samuels came on there and really, I mean, he
Yeah.
put the spear all the way through her. You know what I mean? So, um, and you know, there's really it might be a misunderstanding, but a person like me, I never take the person. I got to see a body of their work before I can just take them. And a lot of black guys, like I said, if you just like brother Ole said, if you just validate their opinion, they're gonna roll with you. They're just gonna roll with you, and then they'll, like you said, they'll even try to protect you. They'll even roll with the program. So it just depends on the person. It depends on who's actually listening to the message and where they are in their life. You know what I mean? So, but I think she was just trying to cover the waters. I think what she needs to do is she need to come out with a video explaining the whole thing. Just like the video. You know how I got here to this live stream you're doing, Courtney? Courtney, I was looking at in this video that you were explaining why you left the mothership, right?
Okay,
said,
yeah.
oh, she's live. Let me go over there and see what she's talking about. You know what I mean? She's live. You know what I mean? So, but that's what I'm saying. But you explaining that, it made more sense as to what was actually going on and everything. And so now okay, it was no beef or nothing. It just, hey, I got to do my own thing. I got to spread my wings.
Yeah,
I have to spread my wings. Right?
People need things connected.
Right.
Like, okay, this puzzle pieces, because right now everything seems all kind of shattered. So I definitely understand. You got to have some kind of connection to this. Now, what I found interesting about this too, her clapback, because she got some more to say. I'm gonna go back to it a little bit too. But she says that she was talking about black males, not black men. Right. What's the difference?
Right. Well, I think what she's alluding to is that the black man is matured, and black male could be anybody who is a male gender. That's what she's alluding to. That's our opinion. That's what she's trying to stress by saying, black man has always had her back, right? And she's saying she rocks with matured men. It's basically sign language, if you know what I mean.
Is that what you're getting also, Brother Clarence and TJ?
Definitely. When she says she goes to strip clubs with men and she hangs out with these high earning men and she'll go to the strip bar with them and all these other different crazy places with them. I mean, I guess she calls those black men, right? Meanwhile, the brothers that's not on her team, she calls those the males. So it's, I mean,
that's an interesting take.
Yeah, it just depends on the way you're looking at it. You know what I mean? I just think that people are people. If you give them enough time, they will show you who they are. They will show you who they are. You know what I mean? So that's the same take I had when I first started watching the Mothership. And I was a fan of yours. I was a fan of Anton's, Rilla's, JR's, K's, everybody on there, right? And even before you got there with Tawana, right?
Right.
But I saw how that situation went down, and so I had contacted one of the owners of that. I said, "Hey, brother, if you keep doing that, people ain't gonna want to work all day and go see people arguing at each other. Why don't you do it this way, and it'll be a better program?" Because I saw it coming where it was going to break down to not a productive situation.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just don't want to see it. You know what I mean? It's like what we telling her, hey, you might be saying what these so-called males black men want to hear, right? But who you considering black men just because they got to have a certain dollar amount after they name annually? Those are men and they rock with you. Sometimes people are gonna rock with you that ain't for you. That ain't no, you guys know that.
Well, I look at it this way because again, I liken it to male. A male is just basically about the anatomy because basically it's calling you. I'll just put it like this. A lot of times I would call, instead of saying woman or saying bitch, I would call you a female. I meant bitch, but I called you a female. Same difference. It was
that baby boy.
It's derogatory in nature. Now,
yeah.
Listen, so, TJ, if I call a woman a female, I'm being derogatory towards her.
On certain streets, on certain streets,
You remember the movie Baby Boy? Yeah. Where I forgot his name was on there, but he was like, "Yeah, I'll call these women bitches, but nah, I'm gonna call them a female. These females."
Yeah. Omar
So some
Gooding.
women find it, I guess, derogatory. I personally don't.
It
I'd rather
doesn't
be
make
called
any
a
sense.
female
Just
than a
like you can
bitch.
call a woman a bitch and they think it's a compliment. So again, it
Yeah,
makes no sense.
yeah.
But definitely,
It's
when
true.
if I'm speaking in terms of a woman that is not a ladylike or is ratchet or is ignorant, I'm probably going to refer to this female over here, probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Right.
Or
Yeah, I think
I coined the phrase flea male.
Flea
F,
male. Mm.
yeah, FLEA dash male, flea male. Makes you itch because she's
makes
dirty.
you
I'm
itch.
just saying.
She got a little something you don't want to mess with. All right, let me go
Wow.
on because she had a lot to say. I'll tell you this, okay. And yes, for people that are asking, this is April Mason. This is her clapback from today. She added the lead attorney and Kevin Samuels on this as well. So this is April. Let's continue. Let's see. Yes, women have work to do. So do these weak ass males. A disgrace to the race. It was all good when I said I quit working with women because y'all thought it was a city boy win. But many of you are raggedy as well. Y'all run around here gossiping like females. Men don't have time to be on the internet making low vibrational videos about women. They heal and choose better women because they're out building their legacy, handling business, investing, networking, working out, going to therapy, sleeping, evolving spiritually, and doing it all again the next day. Now, let me go back to minding my business and living my best life like I always do. I've never had to bring any other content creator into my teachings because what you discuss is low vibrational content. It also says that you lack creativity.
Yeah. It's rough. It's rough.
What
That's
are
our
you
opinion.
thinking? Are you guys disagreeing with this? Do you understand where
Oh
she's
no,
coming
I
from?
I understand where she's coming from. It's just a, you know, it's just a,
Right.
she's covering down on what Kevin Samuels said about her on TLA's
Yeah.
program. Just trying to cover her tracks on that. But I think this is a real issue. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of guys are not rolling with her now is because most of us have been in a relationship with a woman and we've seen a switcheroo like that, where they
Mm.
came off like they was with it, and then once you sign on the dotted line, they do the switch on you. Oh no, I'm not doing no windows or no cooking or nothing like that, you know. And now but you already signed on the dotted line, so now what can you do, right?
Yeah.
In
So do
most
you think
relationships,
she did a switch though?
I think she
I
did
don't see
from
it.
her initial, from the initial. I'm not uh, teaching black women because it is in the diatribe about how black women are a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and not explaining that, you know, I'm still with the business. I'm just not going to teach them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to try to. I'm just not going to try to, you know, have the courses anymore. If she would have said, "Hey, this is how I really feel," but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to try to go against the grain teaching them no more, then that we would have been like, okay, well, she's still with that, you know, modern woman business, but she just saying she ain't gonna make no money off of these women no more. Okay, we can
So,
deal with that.
so it's a
I
problem.
don't agree with that.
Okay, go ahead, TJ.
I don't agree with that because um I think she is resolute in not casting her pearls among swine in the sense of trying to help women who don't want to be helped.
Right.
That's what I think. So I don't think that she's changed on that, but just because she's decided that she doesn't want to help women or, you know, so in the women who don't want to be helped doesn't mean that everything she said is untrue. It just means that it doesn't mean that I'm going to co-sign on everything because I'm not doing this.
Right.
I disagree with that. I think that
Well,
she just, I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
go ahead.
Sister TJ. I'm talking about when how she presented herself on the lead attorney was
Mhm.
different than that video. It was different than that. So it didn't. She didn't qualify that. So she on the video when she came on TLA,
Mhm.
she described what she did more of a teaching of how to manipulate. It wasn't like, oh well, I was teaching them how to do it was more of a manipulation type of discussion from my perspective. So
How did
that's
you
why
come
I'm
to that?
saying that.
I'm curious because and the reason why I'm asking is because as I watched that clip, I
Mhm.
tried to see where I found any disagreement, and I didn't. And I don't see that. I don't. And again, if there's something that I missed, please share that with me because most. And I said I'm not sure that I see it differently because I'm older and I've been the woman that she was talking about, and I had to do a renewing of self. So I didn't see anything that she said that was wrong. So if I missed something,
I
because
didn't say she
I
said
didn't get the
anything wrong.
manipulation part at all.
No, I didn't. I don't think she said anything wrong. Well,
Mhm.
what I mean by manipulation is by showing someone how to behave. Not let me say it this way. Instead of showing a person how to improve and improving yourself and in a spiritual manner, instead, it was more improving yourself on a dollar amount and on a dollar manner, and then that will help you, because you'll be able to be, I guess, portray this person that people will want to be involved with. That was the impression I got. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I got it backwards, but that was the impression I got. Then when I went to go see further videos of hers and
Mhm.
kind of
Mhm.
reinforce that opinion of to me, I don't have nothing evil to say about it. I'm just saying I don't think she was teaching, hey, if you improve yourself spiritually and make yourself just a better person and you're able to that's not what I heard from her. Maybe I got it. Maybe one of you guys could tell me, oh yeah, she said that. Okay, maybe.
Well,
So
it's interesting. It just goes to show that everybody can be in the same auditorium, hear the same
Here's
message,
something
and take
and
several different things
take it
out of
in
it.
completely different.
Because one of the things that I heard her say was the fact that the reason why certain things didn't work out or with some clients didn't work out is because, or the men was saying that she changed on me. Well, and she said it's
Mhm.
because she was acting this way instead of being that way.
right.
So I didn't get that she was trying to push manipulation. She was saying, okay, this is what you shouldn't do because you need to be feminine. Because if you're being feminine, if you're being that person for yourself, it's not going to be a change. It's going to be
But but she
continuous. Hmm?
said she's feminine some of the time and masculine some of the time. She said
Well, and again, I agree with that. And I'm going to tell you why I agree with that.
that. Okay.
She talked about she was masculine when doing business.
Okay.
Men and women both have masculine and feminine energy. Both men and women have estrogen and
And
testosterone.
testosterone.
Okay.
I, as a military officer, when I was in certain meetings, it was necessary for me to be more assertive, more engaging, and that has a tendency to be masculine.
Okay.
So, absolutely. And in as much, and my daughter has even said that watching me in my posture, it was something that she made sure that she didn't bring to her relationship, but it helped her in her career because, again, to be docile
Mhm.
in a working environment or to be overly feminine is not depending on your field is not
Yeah.
necessarily going to be a good thing. So I didn't see anything wrong with that either because but the problem that many women have, myself included,
Don't
is
know how to
when
turn it
we
on and
leave
off.
the boardroom and come
Turn it
home,
on and off.
we have forgotten that we don't need to be masculine and assertive at home.
Right.
That is the problem. But
Yeah.
there's definitely, you have to be a little bit more assertive in the workforce.
But I
So I
never
didn't see
said
anything
you have
wrong with
to.
that.
I never said that she has to be docile 100% her whole situation. I'm sure there's times where you got to be a little more assertive,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that that's wrong. What I'm saying is going based on what she was saying and the way
Mhm.
she was presenting it. Maybe she presented it, and maybe I had looked at it from with my good eye and saw it another way, right?
Right.
I
Hmm.
So
spy with my
I'm
good
just
eye.
right. So maybe that's the way I saw it, but I just I don't. I don't think that just listening to some of her other content,
Yeah.
it kind of showed me that my first instinct on her was
You
kind of
know,
right. Now I'm not saying she's a bad person. Let me clear this up, because in the chat they
sure.
saying I think she's wrong and she's a bad person. I
Yeah.
never said any of that. I
Yeah,
never said
you
any.
don't want to worry about the chat. You just want to
Yeah,
hit. You just want to
exactly.
hail the chat.
But
Just
I'm
the chat's undefeated any
Yeah, it's on its
day.
own thing, right? It does its own thing. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I never said anything like that, or that she, I'm sure that as a woman, you can't just sit back and just say, okay, well, and all the time, you got to assert yourself sometimes. So, of
Yeah.
course, I'm not saying that you have to be 100%. That's all. I
You-
just think the way it was presented, that's how I feel. But hey, maybe Sister Courtney gonna read us something, and
Because
maybe
she's
I'll
not
change my
done.
that would
mind.
change your
Maybe
mind,
it'll
right?
change my mind,
She's
right?
not
Maybe
done.
it'll change my mind.
And Brother Ola, I'm gonna let you
Yeah,
comment because I know you had something to say, but
that's
she's
okay.
not
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Uh-huh.
She said she is clapping back today. And for all y'all males.
Fresh breaking news.
Right, breaking news. Let's see, where did I leave off? Okay. Besides, you are always looking for something to take out of context
Mm.
to fit your immature narratives, which you did. The fact that you didn't even know that I'm not a Christian lets me know that you don't do your research. You listen to respond, not to understand, but it's to be expected. As an attorney, you're in the business of twisting, concocting, and coming up with your own narrative. If you wanted to know more in depth of what I meant, I would have gladly came, excuse me, I would have gladly come on your show and broke it all the way down. As you saw, is that okay? As you saw, I was in the middle of trying to get a tire fixed in an unfamiliar location, but you really didn't want an in depth explanation or get an understanding. Hashtag weak. But I'm glad to see the newbies continue to keep my name in their mouth. Carry on and keep getting those monetization checks on me. Once again, a woman is putting food in your mouth because of all because all of you are making money off the backs of a woman you claim to dislike. Merry Christmas. Hashtag the lead attorney. Hashtag Kevin Samuels.
Interesting. So I'll do this. I'll do this because I had some points to make before, but I'll had them all together. I'll defend the lead, and here's why I would defend the lead because the lead is a lot of this is showmanship. Let's be frank. A lot of this is showmanship. You got to get the attention. You got to keep the attention. You got to build a community. That's what we're doing. It's a business, right? A lot of it has to do, and TLA is good at this stuff. He's really really good, right? He's good at this monologue. It's she's long as hell. I can't sit around for no long as. That's why you don't see me. You see how I just slipped in here? Like, let me come hang out with Courtney. I got time. Yeah. I'm not sitting behind the stage for hours just to talk to, beautiful people, but it's too long, So a few times I've done it, and I've listened to enough of his content that he actually defended her yesterday. And he actually pointed out, like, when people were talking about, he actually spelled the byproduct thing. He played the attorney thing. He said, "This is what I think she meant, and I see this is what the man." He played that. He did it, but it's like 2 minutes out of 6 hours. So she's probably never gonna find that point. You see what I'm saying? Now, back to what we're saying. What we're going to figure out, what we're going to learn at some point, right? In this whole game is that we're all characters, all of us. We're all some kind of puppets being controlled by narratives, especially by our own lens of life, our experiences, and all of these different things, right? We're controlled by all of these different things. So I don't agree with that in the sense of, all these people who are doing this, they're doing that because everyone that gets 100,000 attention of any type, we get drunk off of that attention. It's just what it is because they're human like the rest of us. Okay, because there's a reason why they're getting their attention. It's probably attached to some kind of income or something like that, and that's what I think is going on here. She's getting attention. She also alluded to it. She's getting some check right now. She's enjoying it, but she still got caught up in her emotions, because if she's not right, which I expect, by the way, if she's not right, she could reach out and say, hey, let's have the conversation. But here's what I'll tell you: when people have ulterior motives to nitpick what you're saying, you never say the right thing. See, let me tell you something. You cannot say the right thing to the wrong person. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. Your audience is your audience all day long, right? And it is what it is. The people that you're meant to mentor, they will resonate with you. They will get transformation, not because you said the right thing. It's because they are aligned with you in value somehow, some way, and they spend long enough time to catch that fire. And that's why most people at some level, that's why they don't achieve what they want to achieve, because they don't stick around long enough. But she's doing the same thing that the rest of us were doing, getting high off of the attention, getting caught up in emotion at the same time. She felt some type of way because she's getting dragged a little bit, you know. I mean, the manosphere is heavy right now, let's be frank. Okay, when they drag something, it can trend. It is what it is, right? But I rock with everyone. That's why I tend to kind of be in the middle. What some people may even consider simping. It is what it is. I really don't care. You could label it whatever you want, right? But what I hear from you, Miss Courtney, is insights. I'm not hearing right and wrong from you. What I hear from Miss TJ is insights. What I hear from Brother Clarence is insights. I go create my own truth at the end of the day. Right? When I feel the need to shove my need down your throat, isn't that need to be right? Isn't that the sign language? We're all guilty of it. Kevin, Godfather Samuel is guilty of it. Everyone is guilty of it. Everyone. And it is what it is. Okay. It's not that deep. Let's all calm down. It's really not that deep, right? When we bring it back down to relationships, personal relationships, if you take this stuff back into your personal relationships, it will hurt you in real life.
You know what's funny?
Yes, sir.
All of these people that's teaching about relationships, and none of them got one. No, and none of them are married, or none of them, including Kevin. You know, they're not married, but they teach. I mean, I guess he's, you know, it is.
See,
What it is.
I don't judge. I've been married for 14 years, and I'm happy. You know, I don't judge them either. The truth is that people like me, I just happen to be a marketer. I've been a marketer for 9 years, and I feel like I can add some value. But most people that are enjoying what they got, they're not in this YouTube streams. They're not in the comments.
And you know what they say, those who can do, those who can't teach. Maybe that's
And I tell you, Ola, you made so many good points, and I think one of the things that I endeavor is to never lose sight of why I did this to begin with.
right.
And I shared, and I continue to share that I started my YouTube channel in May of this year as a form of therapy for me,
Mm-hmm.
as I had considered taking my life
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
in May.
Wow.
With everything good that is going on in my life, I had a moment and I said, I don't like my handwriting. So when they wanted me to journal, I said, well, I'm just going to do a video journal. But I said, maybe I can help somebody else by sharing what I have gone through,
Yes.
what
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through as a woman, as a single mother, as a woman who, didn't make the right decisions as a mother, did not make the right decisions in relationships, and was divorced for almost 20 years, for a woman who finessed and manipulated a man, all those things,
Yeah.
to have to rebuild and do the work to prepare me to finally recognize the man that I said that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I pray that I never lose sight of that I never succumb to the attention and seek validation from that attention? Did I seek the validation from those who matter to me, my husband, my daughter, my mother, those things? Because again, you can, it's very enticing. So I'm going to ask you all to, again, part of that thing, holding me accountable, because that's not why I'm here. And one thing about it, I don't co-sign on no bull crap. I call it the way I see it. It may not be the way you see it, and that's your right. But you're not going to hear me giving all women praise. You're not going to hear me giving all men praise. What you're going to hear me do and say is what I think is right.
Yeah.
You may not agree with it, but it's what I think is right, no matter who's saying it.
Yeah.
Same here.
Thank you for sharing that, TJ. That's deep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that, well, I can see that it's working because you got a glow on you, Sister TJ. You got a glow on you that nobody would never have even thought that in a billion years if you hadn't said that and shared that with us. So I hope everything is better than better.
And you know what? I think
Absolutely.
that's also
absolutely. I'm thank you for sharing that, Miss TJ.
Yeah.
Let's get back to cooking, Miss April Mace.
All right. Well, y'all look. Okay, so I read was her clapback on. She did that. That was on her YouTube page, right? So she clapped back. She clapped back at the lead and Kevin Samuels, but she's not done. Okay.
Can I say something, Courtney?
Yes.
Okay. The lead didn't cut her off. She made it sound like from that clapback, she made it sound like the lead was like trying to get her off the phone. She was the one that was rushing off the phone. She was
respected.
Tesla tires, and you don't understand if you don't have a Tesla and all of that, right? She was the one that was trying to get off the phone, but in that clapback, she tried to make it sound like he didn't want to have an in-depth talk to her. He put a whole bunch of people on the side just to talk to her.
She said more than enough, actually.
She said what?
She said more than enough.
She did say a lot. She kept it going too.
Right.
Yes, she did. So, all right. So now, who is she going to clap back now with? Well, she saw the comments that was streaming when she was on there, and she didn't like them.
Oops.
So she got something to say about it. Let's see what she got to say.
So you will always know the nature of a leader by the temperament of their followers. Always. Look at history. Look at history. I don't need to meet the follower. I don't need to have, I'm the leader. I don't need to have a discussion with the leader. I don't need to decide if I'm going to have dialogue with them. I can tell by their followers. Every time. You will always, if you don't remember nothing else I say, don't be arguing with people. Just pay attention to who they're following and who they're getting their information from. That will tell you if you're going to sit back and be arguing with a fool. You will always know. Look at the world. We knew certain presidents, we could tell what type of followers they had. What type of leader they were. Just look at their followers. So if you
disagree,
that's that sign language.
Disagree. Disagree.
That's for Fawcett Media, by the way. That's that sign language.
So was there any truth in what she said? Because I don't know. What do you guys have to think?
Some of what she said was true. Some, in my opinion. But the part about you can tell the leader by the followers, that's not always true. That's not always true. Jesus didn't have hardly any followers, and a lot of them, went back. Lazarus, and and then when they went to the people and they said, "Which one do you want? You want the robber or you want this Jesus fella?" And the people, all the people he had helped, they picked the robber, right? So it don't mean that just because you are a good person, that you gonna have followers that's gonna stick to your words or stick to follow your program,
right?
And that is the definition of you. I'm sure she herself has people that went through her program and it didn't work out. You can't judge her based on those people, right? So that's the only thing I disagree with with that situation there.
Okay.
I mean, she has a point, but she's guilty of the same thing she's accusing them of.
Mm.
You know, she has a point. She's just as guilty. Like, if you understand power dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's the person that is in control of their own life that retains the power. And if you create time to respond and there's no anything else behind it except that I just need to respond, you're just as guilty. You know, see, we are responsible for our reactions. Our reactions are our actions.
Right.
You don't get to point finger at another person. The ladies do this a lot. Sorry, ladies. You know, he made me do it. You know, no, you're
Mm-hmm.
responsible for your actions,
Being
even if it's a
accountable.
reaction. Yes,
Yeah.
and I don't. I'm not really a big believer in holding other adults accountable. I'm not really a big
Mm-hmm.
believer in that, unless you're my client of some sort. I don't. I don't feel like I have that right to try to hold you accountable. I don't think the world environment we live in tolerates that. People have freedom of choices. People have free will, and it's getting more empowered with technology, and it is what it is, and it's a losing battle to try to hold other adults, even another man, another woman who's an adult, accountable. Now you could create a platform like this where you're pouring
Mm-hmm.
into them. What you'll find is that most people will run with the talking points that satisfy or they can relate with, that hit a nerve for them in a positive way. That's what they will run with. So it's not true that every good leader has, no, that's not true. That's completely false.
Yeah.
It's also alluding to the world that we live in is fair. The world is not fair. It's not fair for everyone. That makes it fair because it cancels it out. It cancels each other out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not relevant. So what she's saying, I'll say maybe she's just trying to run with the clout a little bit too. If she's doing that, I applaud her for that. But I doubt it. She's also caught up a little bit in the emotions of it, and she's actively shaming. She's
Mm-hmm.
getting shamed by Manosphere. Let's not get it twisted. She's getting
Absolutely. Yes.
shamed, insulted, but she's actively reciprocating it, and she's now swimming in that low vibration that she spoke of
That's a
with
good
everyone.
point.
Yeah, because she's right that when you argue with fools, people that
Mm-hmm.
are looking from outside can't tell the difference.
Right.
But she's doing that.
She's doing that.
Just she's doing it on our
Yeah, that's a
platform.
good point.
I think
So
she
Yeah.
let
was
me
just a. It was just a low. It was really a shot at Kevin Samuels and his followers, and TLA at his
and his
followers. I mean,
followers.
that's on the surface. It was she was talking, but we get down to the meat of the bone, close to the
Right.
bone. That's what it really was. It was like
Right.
you're dumb for following this guy, and you're dumb for following that guy, and that's
Yeah.
between the lines. That's what was going
Mm-hmm.
on, in my opinion.
So let me ask, because you know, I think she said in the clapback that she did the dissertation to, if they really wanted her to, or if they really wanted to understand what she meant, they would have called her up. So when TLA called up Kevin Samuels, wouldn't that have been a great opportune time to bring her up as well too?
He was waiting for her to come. He was waiting for her. He
See?
wanted her to come up. Come up.
Hmm.
She
Yeah,
didn't.
but
She
that
didn't
would
show up.
that would derail the narrative, or whatever the
Exactly.
goal is.
Exactly.
Let me be honest. We on these platforms, on this public part of it, not on the
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes where we can monetize and get some clients and stuff. On this surface right here, where you're seeing us publicly, where you didn't pay a dime for,
Mm-hmm.
we would rather it's more popular, it's more entertaining, it gets more clout to talk about the problems, no solutions.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. That's just how it is. Okay. And so the idea that we're gonna call you up, so we can talk it out, like, to do what? Like, that's gonna derail the direction, the trend, right? I'm not saying TLA is doing that, but if he's doing that, I don't know if we can blame him. He has a platform to run. He spends a significant amount
Yeah.
of time on running these platforms, and it is what it is. And like I said, I don't hold other adults accountable for what they deem fit or what's right for what they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
for their business or their personal life, which I think is the same thing.
Yeah, I would love to see how Kevin Samuels did, the interview with Brittany Renner, if he would do one with April Mason. I think that would be amazing.
Not
But
Yeah.
gonna
brother
happen.
Clarence, you shaking your head no?
Not gonna happen.
He would
You
slowly
said not gonna happen.
he would
Nope.
slowly suffocate her. It would be an ugly situation.
What's up, Fawcett?
What's
Hey,
happening?
Fawcett, how
What's
are
going on, my
you?
guy?
I'm good. I'm
Oh,
good.
but
My camera's down right now, so you're
Yeah.
gonna have to
Well, no,
forgive me.
you're
My
cool. How
logo.
are you doing? What do you got to say? I know you've been in the comments.
Yeah, yeah. You've been having a great conversation.
Uh-huh.
I do feel like there's partial perspective missing, though,
Okay.
and hopefully I can add that.
Let's bring it on. I hope you
I
do.
feel like we just got to be honest that she's retired from helping women,
Mm-hmm.
but I think some certain people don't need to be helping anybody, and she might be one of them. Like honestly, I don't think she's because she's working. I feel like she's working out her new talking points, and a
Okay.
lot of it might be a pivot towards kind of because she's loving this energy. Believe it or not, I
Mm-hmm.
think she loves the fact that Kevin Samuels has engaged her, that the lead attorney platform has kind of you know highlighted what she was saying. And I think she actually hasn't worked out her talking points for what she wants to say, either to men or to this new group of women that she's approaching. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's the next business model. That's the next targeted area I feel like that she's working on. And because she said she quit women, but she hasn't left the business. I mean, she's still out in public as a public figure.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I just wonder what you would think about that as a possible scenario on what she wants as an outcome.
Well, the thing is, I'm not even sure. Well, I agree with you first when you said that she's kind of maybe talking out her talking points because right now she's kind of in a space and getting a lot of pushback, which I'm pretty sure she's never had before
Right.
because she's always talked to her demographic, her group of women. But now, when she said that she's not doing the black women, then she kind of transitioned over to here, not understanding that this is a completely different atmosphere than what she's used to.
Yep.
So, but I don't know if she understands or knows her purpose because I don't understand it. So if she's not being a dating coach to black women, is she still doing it to women? Is she still teaching? Is she still matchmaking? I don't know that for sure. I don't know if anyone in the chat can tell me, but what is her purpose now?
Well,
She's
she
a
did say
hustler.
she said that she was closing her academy, and someone put it in the chat
Mm-hmm.
that she's still conducting classes and
Hmm.
workshops and videos, but
Okay.
she shut down her dating academy for the reasons that she articulated in her post as it relates to unrealistic expectations, women feeling like they should have certain things based on the fact that they have a vagina, et cetera, et cetera. So she's not quitting helping women who seek help,
Mm-hmm.
but she indicated that she's closing her academy for those reasons.
Okay.
And I opine. Well, how shall I say this? Are we to suggest that because she seems to be a flawed woman, as we all are, that she can somehow not assist other women? And is that what I'm hearing? Because if that
Well,
is the case, then I don't need to be talking either.
Or
well, I
no
think
one, I
a
guess.
truly evolved woman can help women, but I think when you're like, I think that's the dissonance that's coming across, and that I think men are picking up on, because I think we do kind of read character a little differently than women. And the fact is, she's speaking with forked tongue. She basically has said one thing, and like I said, I don't think all men bit on the first. Oh well, women. I'm not dealing with women anymore. Da, 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 da. I don't think men were just like, oh, now we love April Mason. April Mason is the best. I think it's more nuanced than that. Sorry, I
Mm-hmm.
live right by the street, so there's a lot
Yeah.
of noise here. But yeah, so I feel like yeah, there might be an issue in how she's placing herself in this discussion. Um,
What do you mean truly evolved? because I don't think anyone ever is truly evolved. We're evolving people. We're always learning, always growing.
Right.
No one will arrive.
Right.
So what do
But
you exactly mean, or what are you, what are you saying completely or truly evolved?
but I think the moment that just happened with you, Courtney, and the moment just happened with you, TJ, the
Mm-hmm.
recent history of this YouTube platform, there have been several uh, new realms of thought that have been brought out, and you could say it was Kevin Samuels, but I would say there was people that predated him that kind of informed him as well. And so, for the first time, we were having this conversation about women, black women in particular, in this case. And I think some of the progress that I think was being made, April Mason represents a retro, uh, what do you say, a regression of sorts in that realm, because I don't think that conversation's over yet. I think it's just starting. But
Right.
we're now leaning back on our fabled tropes of uh, a black woman being a boss, and what was the one thing she kept saying? Not a boss chick, but she said, I put it in the comments too.
Yeah.
What was
A
that?
dope
A
chick.
dope
Dope
chick.
chick. You did good.
Yes,
Dope,
dope
right?
Yeah.
chick is black girl magic repackaged.
Well, okay, so here's see that's one of the things so wording is important. So my question would have been, would it be so much pushback had she used, if I become a self-actualized woman, would that have been better?
Yes, for me.
Maybe,
My opinion.
Huh?
Yeah. So
maybe.
it's the
He said
wording.
maybe.
It's the wording that she used, not
That's why I
necessarily
said she's not
her
got the
intention.
message together.
Yeah.
She hasn't
Yeah.
Look,
figured it out.
Right.
both guys had it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, brother.
She didn't she wasn't, just like myself. She wasn't familiar with the audience
Mm-hmm.
that she's talking to. See, when
Yeah.
you want to
That's
come
it.
talk to an audience, you have to learn their lingos, because you can go off the rail very quickly, very fast, especially a fiery community like this one where they are right now, and I think that's what happened. I wouldn't give her that much credit. I'm not sure she's overthinking things at that level. I just wouldn't. I think she's more so, whoa, there's all this attention and she's processing this as we're going right now. Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, she's a businesswoman. She understands what clout is. She understands what attention is. So she's probably trying to, at the same time, process that. But she's getting, like I said, she's getting caught up in her feelings just as much because she's getting dragged. I don't care how big you are. Even the biggest celebrities, when you start reading comment, it
Mm-hmm.
affects your soul, and you better learn how to process that and laugh about it and laugh with yourself. And that's what I think she's not that's what I think is going on right now. So I'm not going to give her that much credit. The second point I want to make is this: I think Kevin Samuels doesn't get enough credit when it comes to decorum. See, when he's on his platform, he does what he does, whatever blew up his channel. When he comes on the Lapif network, when he comes on any other channel, he does talk to the ladies with a certain level of respect.
Hmm.
And you saw that with the what's her name again? Brittany something, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw
Brittany
that,
Griner.
right? Anytime you see her talk outside of his platform, he has a different. He's listening. He's respectful, right? And you can but when he gets on his show, he understands what made that show while still planting whatever message he wants to put out there. So I don't think he gets enough credit in that aspect. I just
Yeah.
wanted to speak to that real quick, but I wouldn't give April Mason too much credit in terms of she's pre-calculated and all this kind of stuff. I think she's probably trying to build that right now, but
Mm-hmm.
she completely fell into this by mistake.
And I don't think she doesn't strike me as a woman. If she was making so much money off of the dating academy to just walk away from it, she doesn't strike me as that type of person. So there's something
Yeah, I don't think
that
so
has to
too. I
question
don't think
there.
people just shut down ventures that's making money,
Exactly. I'm making $1 million a year. I'm just
but
gonna
I'm
shut
gonna
it
shut it
down.
down. Yeah, yeah, I don't think
I
so.
don't
Yeah,
think so. I
yeah.
don't think
Yeah, she
so.
said
But
she
I
had
mean,
several other
could be
businesses
wrong.
too. I think she had
Yeah.
several other businesses.
And I agree. And I think, again, I say this all the time, like, what we give you here is what we're going to give you and what we want you to believe sometimes. So with her, she's quitting. Okay, maybe. Or maybe because like she said in her interview, she was throwing the bait of finding, dating and trying to find a man. She was throwing the bait out there to get clientele, but then once they came, it was something completely different. So she wasn't even being forthright in her services and what women wanted to, pay for, because she was using bait and using men as the bait
That's what I'm
to
saying.
get the women in. So, because
She's
I
a
know I'd be
hustler.
mad
She's a
if I came
hustler.
here thinking I'm gonna find a man, and you over there talking about you need to put on an apron. Ma'am, I'm trying to put on this stock dress to get me a man. I don't need to hear this. So,
But you bringing up a good point, Courtney, and it's something
Mhm.
I noticed, and something
Mhm.
that somebody pointed out when you watched that last video. Those glasses are direct. They're a direct shot at Kevin Samuel's audience. There's a physical
Absolutely, yeah.
aping of what she's trying to do. Because I saw her before she got on with
That's deep.
TLA. She took a
Look
moment
at
and said, "Let me get my glasses." This is a new
I
rebrand.
didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a new audience. It's a new audience.
I'm in media, so
Okay, I'm sorry.
kind of
I
pick
think
up on
we're
these
thinking
things.
too much now.
I mean,
No,
that's
I'm in
deep.
media. I pick up on these things.
That's
This is
You
real.
deep.
can see, I'm a
That's deep.
54-year-old woman, so I have several pairs of glasses,
But
and if I needed my readers, I
those
Those
put
are
aren't
them
reading
on.
specific.
glasses.
Those were specific and they were
Right.
oversized, but
Now we know.
they look nice on her though.
If you watch her,
We
if
know
you go
those
back and
aren't
watch her
reading glasses.
content, if you watch her content, she's had those glasses for a while. I mean,
You know,
Oh yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna
I'm
say
sure she has.
that's interesting.
Oh no, Fawcett didn't mean it that way. Fawcett didn't mean like, oh, she went to buy it right now. That's not what he was saying. Right? That's not what you were saying, right, Fawcett?
No.
Okay. All right.
I mean, she made sure to put them on for these last few things.
That's
So.
interesting.
I've seen
I'm
her without
very
them a
curious.
lot though. You know what I'm
I
saying?
like
As
this
a, as
stuff.
a as a woman who's been her age, whose vision has progressively gotten worse, I'm just gonna say I think we might be overthinking this thing.
No, TJ, they might not even have prescription in them.
I don't think those are prescriptions.
But
Those
they
are
may.
way too big.
Okay, listen.
They don't sell that at the glasses
Watch
spot. I don't
Danielle
think so.
glasses, because Danielle, that's my daughter. Watch her glasses on Saturday, because I said, oh, those are very similar to that, and they prescription. I'm just
Okay.
saying.
All right. You can
Well,
get anything
let me-
prescription.
I'm gonna go back because I know TJ earlier you was asking about what she was saying about validation, and for anyone that's late coming, we were also, which I love, Brother Clarence brought up the difference between attention and validation, and how she specified how validation women shouldn't be looking for validation for men. Me, I think you do get validation from your spouse, your mate. It's a equal exchange. I need to validate you, meaning your feelings, emotions, opinion matters to me. I'm not going to blow you off. I care. So I think, you get validation from your husband, from your wife. It's important. So let me go and see what she has to say a little bit more about validation. Let's see.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, sure. What I mean by men is the byproduct. Doesn't mean that we don't need you. What it means is when you become a dope woman for yourself first, the type of man that you want will easily come along. So the man is the byproduct of you becoming a dope woman. You don't become a dope woman for the man. And so that's why a lot of men say, well, when I got with her, after I got her like this, she changed. Yes, because she only was that to get you. She did not become that. So in my dating academy, I used teach me how to date as the bait. That was the sugar to get them in there. Women that actually did the work in my dating academy will tell you, my whole life changed. My money changed. How I got that promotion on my job. So I just had to use the man as the bait to get them to know themselves better, because women aren't doing that for real. Yes, women are going to more conferences. Yes, women are picking up more, books to read, but they're not doing the hard work to transform. It's difficult to go through the emotional pain that comes with change. I had to realize I wasn't as dope as I thought I was. Oh, I'm fine. But that was on the outside. Your end result will always tell you how dope or how dope you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't
because when you said men are the byproduct, because the more dope a woman becomes, maybe the better the man that she can pull can be. Like I resonate with that. I think I like that. But then when you kept going, you were talking about women making money more on their job, women getting these promotions, and that's where a lot of men would be like, well,
okay, let me explain that.
Okay,
I'll explain that to you. So this is what I mean. I teach living a feminine lifestyle. Living a feminine lifestyle means even when you go to work, your energy is you're dominant in the feminine, not necessarily the masculine all day. So although we have several family businesses and I am the CEO of a couple of them, and then I have a 27-year-old daughter and my 25 and 23-year-old sons, they run the business with me as well. However, I intentionally only give 10 to 15% of my masculine energy to my business every day. Mm-hmm. That means I'm allowing myself a cap so that I can make sure that I am not throwing myself as in the masculine energy as my dominant. There's nothing wrong with a woman being successful at all. It's how she operates in the energy of her success.
Right. Do you think there's a risk in becoming successful? For example, let's just take a quick look at what you were saying that you're starting to see a lot more. You were saying, well, however, the majority of women that come to you have unrealistic expectations. You were saying the selfishness, fake everything. They think they should be chosen because they have a vagina and for the good looks. The entitlement, just mean not knowing the difference between being a woman and a wise woman, not knowing how to be versus do, thinking that being a feminine woman is weak or pick me, placing blame and not taking responsibility or accountability for the choices that they've made in men. And do you think that?
Well, let me get back. I think I skipped over that part, but that actually was a better part. So someone tell me what she said wrong.
I think she said that the man is a byproduct of the way she was putting it. And can you imagine if a man said, "Yeah, women are a byproduct of you"? It wouldn't sound right because we're not connecting with each other. We're not figuring out, okay, if I want a good woman, what would a good woman need to see in me, right? I'm just gonna go be this man, and I expect a good woman to be with me. Well, maybe I might make all this money, but I'm not the man that she wants. So why don't I figure out what a good woman would want to see in a husband or in a relationship? What would she want to see? And then why don't I try to pattern myself if that's what I want? And some people don't want to be in relationships, but let's say you do want to be in a relationship. Why don't I work towards, first of all, getting myself together financially, and then putting myself together spiritually and mentally in a way where this person, I am attractive to this person. Mm-hmm. But the way she said it is that the man is the byproduct of you turning into a woman, and I don't agree with that because men have too many options to be a byproduct of anybody today. Men just have too many options. Women are not staying in relationships like women used to fight to stay in relationships before, but there's so many women available because women are leaving these relationships, so that the market is flooded. The market is flooded. You don't have to, you as a man, you got so many much more options. You can online date, you can buy a girl from across the water, you can date just the old fashioned way. You can do so many different, you can go on the Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you can go so many different directions and find women. You don't have to be a byproduct for anyone anymore. Like I don't have to say, well, you're a dope woman, but I don't like this about you, but you're dope. I guess your definition of dope. It may not be my definition of dope. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I disagree with her about. But everything else sounded pretty good.
Again, I must push back, and again, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what you're saying, but I think we've kind of we revisited it a couple of times, I think that it is the word choice, and I think we're getting lost in the sauce here. Because if I may reference Kevin Samuels, a lot of times people would talk about how he said it versus what he said in the message. I find it very similar here.
No,
If
I
and
think.
if I, and excuse me, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
Again, if we search hard enough, we can be offended by anything. Would it have been different or more received if she would have said, if women do the work or become this dope woman, if she would have said, that will result in you finding that husband? Would that have been different?
No, still would have been wrong to
How
me,
so? How so?
because that's you're saying to someone your idea of dope is going to be the guy you're looking for idea of dope, and that's not correct. That may not be correct. That may not be correct. So
But don't we
you're
say that? Um,
go ahead, Sister Courtney.
Oh, she
I think
froze.
she froze.
Oh, she froze.
But I had one point. I think it goes back to what Brother Clarence was saying. What is your objective in this? And I think that's the evolution that's happening in the conversation, is that we started having this conversation about what you want. You want this high value man? Well, you have to appeal to him in your best possible situation. So
By
if
being
you
dope.
out being a hustler, if you out being a boss chick or a dope chick, do you have time to be receptive to that man that will be? Because it sounds like it's an afterthought. A byproduct could be replaced with afterthought. So then, you're talking to, like I said, a group of women who are now being introduced a new way to play this. A lot of women probably haven't they even thought about what Kevin was saying, that, oh, maybe me putting career and putting money and material things on the first priority seat as an issue to me finding what I want long term in a high value man or a mate, acceptable mate. So I
Sister
think
TJ.
that's the problem. Yeah.
Well, can I say this real quick,
Well-
Brother Foster?
Yeah.
Let me say this real quick. Mr. TJ, what she could have said was, if you be a better woman and you walk into being a better woman, your chances of finding a better man will improve. That makes more sense. But to say you're gonna find a good man if you're a dope chick, in my opinion, that leaves a lot of information out on the table.
So is the dope word? Is the word dope? Is that what the issue is?
No, it's the word you are going to find. He will.
Oh, like a claim. It's like a strict claim.
Yes.
And I mentioned that. I mentioned that I disagree with that aspect. What I said I would have resonated with had she said, if you become a dope chick, or I would like to say self-actualize, you'll be able to recognize
That makes sense.
a good man because you
Yeah.
have done the inner work to know what one looks like.
That
But
makes
see,
Well, I have a
that's
question.
what I took from what she said. Like I said, because I sought to understand what she was saying.
Right.
If I
Right.
sought to be offended, even if a man, like women who seek to be offended by what Kevin Samuel says, as opposed to seeking to understand the message he's trying to convey.
Yeah.
I don't see anything different here.
Yeah.
I have
Is the same? Oh, go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because I have
Yeah.
a question, and let's go on to Brother Thomas, Clarence. Think about the judge.
Sorry.
Clarence Thomas. So she said that, and you were like, okay, if she wouldn't have used the "you are going to find a man, you're a dope chick, you are," but don't we say that to men? If you level up, the women will come. You will have a plethora
But
of women.
it's
if
true.
You just level up. Don't we say that to men?
Yes, but that's a different circumstance.
Tell me how.
Because women are attracted to money and power. Men are not attracted to money and power. If you become a very successful, independently wealthy woman, the kind of guys you
God bless you.
be interested in are not going to be running at you. They're not.
But here's the thing: leveling up doesn't mean you're going to be wealthy and powerful.
But I'm saying, even if Okay, well, that's what I mean when you said we're talking about comparing
Yeah.
it to men, comparing it to men and women. When we say leveling up, we're talking about you getting into your best financial position so that you can be in a position to offer a woman certain benefits. So you can, you're not just saying come and live with me in the shoebox, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want to level yourself up, right? But when women say they're gonna level themselves up, in my opinion, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking they're thinking, hey, I'm gonna level myself up on a path to debt or whatever. I'm gonna get my finances together. And women think
Yeah.
that men think the same way a lot of times. I'm not saying you two ladies do, but I'm
Yeah.
saying a
I
lot
do
of
think.
times women do think that.
And to give credit to April, she said that in the interview. She said that these women are thinking that these men that they want is going to, like them for their career. And she said no. That's why even in her stance, she said she's a feminine CEO because she puts putting a lady in her femininity above being her business. So
Hmm.
she does preach that as far as, femininity always comes first before business. And that's what she's teaching. So again, if we're like, okay, men leveling up, meaning getting your finances together and the women will come.
Right.
Well, if we're having an issue in our community where our women are not as feminine as men want us to be, and she's teaching femininity, then they should have an abundance of more men attracting them because they're giving, men what they want and they're not, and it's such a small group of women giving it to them if that's the case.
Right.
Well, Sister Courtney, can I ask a question? I'm
Can
Hmm.
I can
sorry,
I
Sister
can I
TJ. Go
simplify
ahead,
this?
please.
Okay.
Mr. Randolph, that's my husband, because I interviewed my husband. He said it. I think Courtney, I think is a bit different when
Okay.
men tell other men that for no other reason than it's a numbers game, and
Hmm.
we outnumber them. so
That's
so
another issue.
so
Hmm.
they can say that. If they can say that the women will come because it's true, because we outnumber them. We outnumber them in a sense of not just the, being a woman, but we outnumber them. Then when we throw in our age, let's just keep it. Shout out to Chicago Rillo, one thou wow, because Terry today is not the Terry she was just 10 years ago when
Hmm.
so it's very different. It is very different. So what men tell men is completely different, and it's a whole different equation. And this is what my husband is to use his words, he said he would hate to be a 20-something-year-old some man in Atlanta. It's just crazy
Oh yeah.
because it's just a numbers game, and so
I,
that's why they can tell it and be very self-assured in that fact. I'm
I'll
done.
s- I'll say this, right. I'll say this. So I think there are many layers to it, right. I
Hmm.
think one layer I want to speak to, which I haven't heard much perspective on it, is the fact that yes, you when you become a man of a certain status and you have a certain status in society, you do have options, right? You do attract many options, but what do we call options? Are these the people you want? That's the question. Right? You can attract a bunch of girls, right? Are this the girl you want? Right? People talk about the Instagram models type of girls all the time. Like, well, I don't know why we're talking about that. That's not the kind of chick I want, right? So, talking about women all over the place, I agree the numbers are humongous. They're all over the place. I get it. Statistics, right? Probabilities versus possibilities, right? But the way we operate as human beings, right? We don't operate based off of probability. That's not how we do. If we did, we'd be like, okay, since I'm a young black man in America, there's a good chance that I either end up in jail or die, right? There's no point. I don't need to go get a PhD. We don't operate that way. What we do say is that I'm gonna go be that one who gets this PhD, who levels up. Let's use the language. Who levels up, will get what I need to get to my bag, whatever language you want to use. That's what we do. And that kicks directly against the idea of possibilities. I'm sorry, probabilities, or being logical, or let's stick with the facts. We're doing the possibilities, even though the odds in terms of statistics are against you. So I'm going back to this like, okay, yes, we have more options. That's another layer to it when you become a man of a certain status, right? But is that the options that you actually want? Right? That's another conversation altogether. And I don't have the answer, but that's a question that you can just throw around and see if the answers are the same. There's a good chance that it's probably may be the same, but we need to have the conversation before we can. It's not as simple as, oh, we're more, and therefore that works that way. That's not how that works. The way these things work is that we're human beings. We're not animals, and that means we dream higher, and that means we want more, and that means we want more than whatever the statistics said yesterday. I'll mute my mic there.
Okay,
Hold up.
so as a woman who, I keep saying I was fine because I was, but anyway,
That's right.
I thought, and I'm saying this for the young women, because I was a good-looking younger woman, I thought I was going to have all the time in the world to have that man find me, because I always got attention everywhere I went. But it wasn't until I started to notice that I wasn't anymore. So, or not as much. So it does change. And the options that I once had weren't as plentiful because, one, the numbers. It's, women outnumber men. And two, the opportunity to meet men had waned because I wasn't out as much because I'm older and I'm doing different things. And three. I'm not drinking. Okay. I was older. And so I think, I'm not saying that is a death sentence, because obviously it wasn't. But I think it's very important for women, because I was delusional. I thought when I was ready, I was going to be tight and right and be able to pick the one I wanted, until I looked around and there wasn't nobody to pick from. So I had to start doing some work, because I was competing with not just women my age, because even my husband said he dated women that were older than me. He dated women in our age group and younger than me. So I was competing, but there was something, and to your point, Ola, the women were competing for him, if you will. So he had more options, but they did not necessarily meet what he was looking for, but he had the option. And my point being, women, as we get older, we don't have as many. And I think there's nothing wrong with being honest about that, because if we don't, that's why so many of us will be freaking by ourselves. And what April said is true about, in one aspect, being mean. I was mean.
No.
I know it's hard to believe, isn't it? But
Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to sell me a little bit more on that part.
So, I mean, I went off on a tangent, but I think it's important because, again, it's not just merely the numbers, but it does play a factor, because, again, you do have many. So again, to your point, Brother Clarence, if a woman is not, if she acting, this way, you can go get another one.
Right.
Yeah.
So in women, we don't have as many options. And to your point, Brother Clarence, yes, we may have men in our DMs, whatever that means, direct message, right? Okay. But are they trying to wife us?
Yeah.
So we have to be honest about that. I'm done.
And women's options are really front loaded. So in their younger years, they have all the options in the world, and they think because they've had it their whole life that way that it will stay that way. And I think as men get older, our options expand as well. So you got people like my dad's best friend. Hope he doesn't mind me mentioning this. He's in his 70s and he don't date women in their 40s. So you know what I'm saying? And he's got all the money that everybody's describing. Yeah, he doesn't date over Courtney's age. So
yeah.
Well,
I think we have different things that we're looking for in each other. See, men are not looking for financial stability in a woman. Not looking for that. We're looking for other things. But women, a lot of times, that's probably, besides the physical appearance, they're looking for financial stability. A lot of times, the ones that got their head on straight, they want to see if this man's. I don't want to have to carry this man across the water. He got to be able to carry me. He should be able to carry me at least, right? But or at least carry himself across the water. And so therefore men are. That's why I was saying what I was saying about what April was saying. She said, "Oh, you just be a dope chick, and guys are just gonna fall out of the tree for you." Not,
Mm-hmm.
not, not
No.
necessarily so, and not the, and maybe they might be all up in your DMs, but not
Mm-hmm.
the type of guys that you're gonna probably want to be, committing to in a relationship or a marriage.
And you're
Right.
playing against the clock too. You're playing
I have
against the
a
clock.
That's
and I have
another
a
thing.
question. I have a question for you guys because we got some good men on here. So, Abram Mason, she's obviously, talks about her success and how she leveled up herself. But she also talks about that that's not what men want. Is it that that you don't want someone successful, or you don't want the woman to boast and brag and put it over your head that she's successful?
Uh, we don't want a woman that's going to focus on her success more than me. If you're going to
Mm.
focus on your, I don't mind if you're
Mhm.
successful, but if you're going to focus on your success more than me, because I'm a man, right? I know what it takes to be successful. Like they talk about
Mhm.
high value men. High
Mhm.
value man is not going to be going to work at 8 o'clock and getting off at 5 and being home at 6 o'clock to eat and getting off from the plant. He's going to be
Right.
working 70, 80 hours a week on the weekends. A lot of times he's going to be gone Christmas. Gone. He's going to be working a lot. So I don't want a woman that's going to be working like that with me. Right?
Mhm.
That's not going to work. So that's what they mean when they're saying that. It's not that we don't want a woman that's successful. We want a woman that's successful. That's not going to be that's not the issue. Whether she's successful or not, that's not the issue. The issue is, how is she with me? How is she going to work in my plan?
I'll
That's
speak.
the issue.
Sorry, brother Clarence. I'll speak for me.
Okay, yes, sir.
Is that congratulations to you. Like,
Mhm.
but that's not what I'm attracted to in a lady. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? Like it's not like I'm also, and I'm adding to what you said, brother Clarence. It's not like because the last part of what you said I agree with, which is it's not like I need you to put all the attention on me. That part, right? That's not what I'm looking for. But if somehow the vibes in this relationship is just all about that boss chick vibe, right?
Mhm.
We wouldn't be having this conversation in the first place, because way before we got married, I would have it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't be a fit for me as a person, right? But if somehow, some way, the reason why I think this is faulty is because sometimes you marry a girl or a young lady, and 3 years later she's been a housewife and she doesn't feel fulfilled. This happens all the time, and she wants to do something, and then you effectively have a massive crisis in your hands, because even though she's kind of like tamed, you didn't realize you were taming her. That's not something you would admit to. You didn't realize
Mhm.
she's going through this kind of stuff, right? But somehow she's like, okay, she wants to start something, and then you start butting head and arguing in a very toxic manner, and you don't realize where it's coming from. You're like, oh, you switched on me.
Mm.
But this is something that's very common among the ladies, that I don't fault. It's just what it is, right? Sometimes they think this is what they want. They get to a stage in life, they're like, I want to do a little something. I want to get out there and see if I can step out every now and then. And this is where some of these issues will come up later. So, but for me, I'll just tell you that up front, that's not what I'm attracted to. However, when you are a man, right, there's contingencies over time. You should be aware that things, certain changes, evolution can come. Things can throw you a curveball, and you should be open to at least having a conversation about it, or finding some kind of middle ground, right, where you can work something out. Because I guarantee you, probably all she's looking for is validation. She just needs to feel heard. She probably doesn't even need to, you probably just need to allow her to see if she'll try something. She might like, nah, I'd rather be at home. It happens all the time, right? But if you push against it too hard in the beginning, in the name of being an alpha male, right, you create more craziness, you create more chaos, right? And she has that chaos regardless. So I'm saying that to say, for the ladies, you need to really get this straight. A typical man, I don't want to say he doesn't care. He does care, but it's not necessarily attracted to your boss chicky stuff. It's not. He doesn't care about that, but he cares. But he doesn't care. Okay, that's not what he's attracted to. But we know that a typical woman is hypergamous. Hypergamy is not something you do or act. It's just what it is, right? A woman like to look up. A woman like to be able to respect and feel like she has a man that brings her. It's a feeling Unfortunately, I know we don't like to talk about feelings, but it is what it is. But when we take it as the reality, when she says, I want this, and we turn that into a real thing before it becomes a real thing, that's where we have serious problems in our hand. And I spoke to both sides there. But yes, the young ladies of nowadays need to really get that straight that, listen, that's not what it's about. And at some point, when sometimes it can be too late, like Bro Clarence was saying, like not everybody, let me tell you something, the entitlement thing on both sides is stupid. Just because you got it right and you checked everything doesn't mean you're gonna have it in life. Life is absolutely unfair. I'll mute my mic right there.
Well, dope
Yeah,
chicks and boss chicks. Go ahead, Courtney.
mhm. Well, no, go ahead. And hey, Sir Hill, go ahead after Brother Fawcett goes. Go ahead,
Yeah.
I'm listening. Mhm.
Dope chicks and boss chicks. If we're really trying to address the issues in the black family, do they really create the environment for a successful black family? Are we really setting up a world where we've got potentially two alphas or an alpha and a beta in these new households that are supposed to push the black community forward? Like I honestly, that's what I look at it. This is, it's just really flying in the face of all the work that has been done to get us to this point. And it's, like I said, it's, we're still in the early phases. I think
Mhm.
it's comfortable, and I think women are hearing what she's saying, and they're like, it's
Mhm.
something familiar. And so there's a need to go revert back to something that we've already covered. We've already covered that this is not a conducive to a strong black family. This is not
Mhm.
conducive to me finding my match, my mate, or to attracting the man that you are attracted to. You know, like they brought up several times before, a woman, a man is not going to be attracted to a woman simply because of her money. A real man is not going to be attracted to a woman simply because of her money. A gigolo might be. Somebody who is out for getting that type of advancement. And I think you might want to be wary of that situation, and you might not want to lean into that, Miss April, because she talks about having multiple options. But as she ages and she's dealing with these younger men, they're going to be
Yeah.
in there for another reason, and she's going to be
Yeah.
breaking them pockets. That's what the reason will be.
She's turning into a sugar mama.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sir Hill. Hey, Bolo.
Hey,
Hey fellas, hey sis, hey auntie, what's going on?
Good.
What's
Go
up,
ahead, sir.
Bolo? What's up, Sahil?
You're on mute, Sir Hill.
mute.
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you now.
You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, really good to see you, ladies. You look beautiful, fellas. You standing strong. I wanted to get some context on this, though. I think it really depends on where the man is. Like
Mhm.
in this sphere, it's easy to put everything in a particular compartment and think that the whole world operates like this. What we're talking about are men who want to be that male leader in their home. There are a group of men who prefer a woman to work and go 50-50 on stuff. Now, let me tell you, I am not part of that category. As a matter of fact, I don't think relationships work like that. To be really honest, I think that there may be situations where it calls for that, but a woman who really wants to rest in her femininity doesn't want to have to be masculine and work to provide. She wants a man that she can rely on. And I find out you get a different type of loving. You get a whole
Mm.
different type of response when she can bask in her femininity. And I know what I'm talking about. So right. So I think that's the first thing. The other thing is, I don't think that April Mason particularly has the wrong mindset. I do think that she is still growing. And one thing that I've learned about women is they have personalities, they have skills, they have desires as well. And one of the things that a lot of men fail to do is have enough going to employ the skills that she has. So a woman is going to seek out a way to express that somehow. So this is why you see women with multiple businesses. They've got a lot of things that they're doing. That's their way of trying to express what they have. And a
Mm.
man who doesn't have enough going for himself doesn't have anything to employ her skills. And so it starts to look as competition. He can't put her into this box because she won't stay. And she's like, I want to be in a box, but the box is not big enough. And so I think it's two things that has to happen. When men
Mm.
get with a woman, we have to take inventory of what her skills are, what her passions are, and figure out if we have enough going on in our life to utilize those skills to push our vision forward.
The second thing is women have to also be true with what they want, because it's really easy for women to listen to this podcast and hear the rhetoric and like, let me dumb down what I am. Let me dumb down my intelligence so that I can fit in and find a guy. And that's not what we're saying. We're saying, men, take your leadership, women, take your gifts. Let's merge these things together and let's create the type of dynamic family that when we look back, our kids have great memories and not stories that they're telling their therapist that they didn't see the love and nurturing in family. They didn't see their father a leader. They didn't see their mama a feminine woman. And so we've got this confusion, boys growing up seeing women who are dominant and they find dominant wives, and there's this internal fight that's on the inside of them. They don't know what it is that they're trying to submit to a woman because they submitted to their mama because they didn't see a man there, and mama didn't have a man to submit to, and so it's all confused. So I think this conversation is a lot bigger than we think about it. But the two final things I'll say is men have to have enough going for themselves. Too many of us, we want helpers and we don't have anything worth helping. Like I say this to a lot of men all the time. We often like to say, he who finds a wife finds a helpmate. And we get stuck on he who finds a wife. And we don't go forward to talk about help. Help is for people who are doing something. And a lot of us guys, we think that going to work and paying the bills and paying down the credit cards and making sure we've got food and making sure we buy a ring, that's enough. And a real woman who has skills and qualities, you can't buy her. The Bible talks about in Proverbs that her price is far above rubies. And so fellas, a free one for you is if you can purchase her, she can't be from God. Because when you get a woman from God, there's nothing you can have that can afford her. You just have to have a purpose big enough to employ the skills that come in her naturally. All right, I'm done. Mr. Bolo.
Wait, are you a pastor in Atlanta or something?
Man, you want me to come behind that? Sir Hale, you want me to come behind that?
I'm a married man 15 years. I know what I'm talking about. Married man, 15 years. I know what I'm talking about. I've learned some things. When you have a gifted wife and she's strong. Now listen, this is only for women who want to be feminine, not fake feminine, not these false, not these people who pretend, not putting on the makeup, not putting on the right hair, the right makeup, and the right weave to make yourself appear to be a woman that I'm talking about women who really want to bask in their femininity. Those, I'm only talking to y'all right now. The other stuff, we're gonna have to go through Auntie TJ's school for us to get to that place.
Right.
Right now to the feminine women. Right? For feminine women need a man who has enough going on, because it's amazing when she sees that strength. And you can't talk strength, and you can't look like strength. You gotta be strength sustained over a certain period of time. And once you win a woman by her seeing your consistency and commitment to being a leader. And watch this, a lot of fellas, we miss it because as soon as you start mouthing off to us, we retreat and we start doing the happy life kind of thing. And what a lot of women are doing, it's almost like when you're getting over a sickness, you have to cough that stuff out. And when it's coming out, it takes a while. So when a woman is mouthing off, it's just some of that toxic femininity coming out. And what we do is once we see that, we retreat and start trying to keep her quiet when we really need to be louder to let her know we got to come on, let's get that out, baby. I'm with you. I know it's ugly.
Tell me more, baby. Tell me more.
Come on, let's keep on doing it, baby. Yeah. And then affirm the progress you see in her. When we do this, a lot of us men are overlooking great women, not because they're not great women, but because we don't have enough going on in our life to see the value that they bring to our lives. So while I talk about women, I also put the leadership on men. If we're going to be leaders, let's be leaders.
Wow.
Yeah, boy. I don't know. Bolo. I don't know what you're going to do.
Listen, man. Sir Hale covered so much of it. And
let's just be happy that this has been documented on YouTube.
Anyone
can go back and watch it.
On I Am Courtney. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to respond to the young brother though, brother O, because you were talking about how you can be in a relationship with a woman, she could be one way, and then 3 years down the line she could be another way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Brother Hale said he's married 15 years. I've been married 32, so I learned a few things as well. And one of the things I learned is relationships are dynamic. We as men, a lot of times, we don't. We don't see. We think relationships are static. When you came in this way, you're supposed to stay this way. But every 5 years or so, everybody's going to have a different mentality because you got different responsibilities and different things are going on. Like Sister TJ was saying, you're going to be a different person every 5 or 10 years. So you're going to have to reevaluate a lot of different things. So don't be alarmed. I'm saying it's not only for you, Brother O, because you brought it up. So there's other people listening to us. So I'm going to put it out there. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody, don't think that person is going to stay the same. People evolve, they grow. You're going to see what you got, right? Especially after about 10 years, you're going to go to some funerals together. You're going to go to some parties together. You're going to do a lot of different things together. And then you'll see the kind of person that's really underneath. Because people can hide for the first 5 or 7 years. They can kind of hide. They can still, they're not farting in front of you and stuff like that. They still, what I'm saying, kind of hide. But after about 10 years, then you see what you really got.
It comes out. It comes out.
I see people quoting their resume. I've been married for 24 years.
All right, come on.
Awesome. So I'm the youngest married in the house, basically.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
awesome.
The thing is, when you're dealing with marriage, as long as you stay in that communicative state, you're not going to grow too far apart. A lot of the times we isolate ourselves and we go into who we think we need to be instead of communicating with us and growing together. This is what men and women don't do a lot in relationships. We don't grow together. One grows one way, the other grows the other way. And when we come together, we find out that we've so separated that we're a different man. I'm a different woman. So we need to really have conversations and speak with each other. And it's not easy. Something that Sahel said that is so important, that the onus is on us as men, right? Us as men to understand what we need to lay down. Because a lot of these women move the way they move because they don't feel safe in their femininity. Let me say it again. A lot of these women move the way they move because they don't feel safe in their femininity, because we're not giving them an environment to be safe in. We're not giving them an environment to let them know that I got you. Also, just giving them that environment is not enough. It's about listening, hearing, understanding. Again, listen, if my woman knows how to fix a car, I'm not man enough not to say, here's the wrench. I'll be on the side and let you do what you do. See, that's the thing in my masculinity. We're caught up into thinking that women need to wash dishes and cook dinner and all that stuff, and men need to go out there and break their behinds. Nah, my position in my home is not built off those types of things that we need to do. You know what I'm saying? My relationship is built with my woman on the relationship I have with God. So once I understand what I am supposed to do as a man, I don't get caught up in those small things because she may be better with her hands. As a leader, as the head, you are supposed to know how to delegate. You can't get caught up in paralysis of analysis. You cannot. And a lot of us do. So if my woman has the expertise in something, who better to go to than my woman to say, I need help? We as men need to understand that we can't be ashamed to say, I need help. And if your woman is the one that can aid you, who better? Because not only are you going to get that information, you both are going to grow together. And that thing that's called trust. See, obedience is something that God demands. There is no ways around that. Submission is something that a man earns, and he earns that through her trust. When she submits to you, that's her trusting you. So you can't force open that pedal, my G. You can't. That's not trust. That's not submission. That's called force. So this is something that she has to offer you. So when you authentically love her, like Sahel said, that's when you get that Proverbs 31 woman. She'll go out and do that. Why? Because she is responding to your love. Love is an emotion that's invoked. Because love has a lot of foundations. It's kindness, forgiveness, loyalty, truth, emotion, generosity, patience, empathy, sympathy, direction, financial health. All of these things is what propagate that feeling that we call love. And then she responds to it accordingly.
I like that, Bolo.
Right on.
Yeah. Well, I have a question. Go ahead, Bella. I'm sorry.
I have my finger up like in church. Nephew Bolo, you about to make me cry, and my makeup is Mr. Randolph is almost home, so I cannot be crying. But I tell you,
Don't get me in trouble with Uncle. Don't get me in trouble.
So we went to visit my dad for Thanksgiving, and I did a show with my dad, and my dad, excuse me, talked about how when I asked him what he thought about Mr. Randolph, and he said the same thing that you're saying about what he saw in me and how I trusted him. And my father said that he was so appreciative that that a man loved me so that I was able to trust and fully let go after seeing his daughter in poor relationship after poor relationship, giving more than I was receiving. And now, for the first time ever, that I'm in a relationship that I can trust. And it's funny, ladies, I want you to hear me on this one. When I met Lawrence, I said, now, if you're looking for somebody to cook every time, I ain't your girl. Okay, right? I said that, right? Listen. And he never, ever asked me to cook. But I swear, every time I make sure that there's something cooked, I make sure, and he never asked. I yearn to do because I trust him with everything, and I just want to do more, and I never knew what it could be like. But Bolo, you're absolutely right. He told my dad that and there's some things I don't know what he told, because that's men talk. I can't believe I'm saying that. But I trust him with my everything. And so even my daughter said, Mom, what has happened to you? You didn't cook this much for me when I was growing up.
You know what the difference is, TJ?
Yes.
I had a conversation with my daughter. She's engaged. And I sat her down and I said, here's the thing. This is crazy. And it's going to sound crazy saying it, but I've been called crazy. I've been called worse. I said, what's the difference between your fiance and me? And she looked at me like, I don't know, Daddy. I said, the only difference is he sleeps with you. Think about that. I'm handing the baton to him. He's going to do everything that I did for you. He's going to protect you, nurture you, guide you, cover you. He's going to do everything. It's the same thing with, your wife. She's doing everything that your mother did. This is why when you have examples of good fathers and good mothers, you have something to measure everyone against. When you don't have that dysfunction, the mistakes you make, when you're dealing with little babies, the milestones between 2 and 5 is so important because they don't understand what life is. Their importance is built on how you treat them. I gotta be important because mommy and daddy waking up every 5 minutes to feed me. That validation that little girl gets from her father when she feels that her arms, there's nothing you can do wrong. I love you. I got you. I'm going to protect you. Am I going to admonish you and rebuke you? Hell yeah, I'm going to. But you know that there's nothing you can do that's going to make me stop loving you. And this is what I want you to take into the world so that when you go out there and you measure all these dirt bags, you have something to measure up against. And the same thing with the woman. When you see that mother doing what she needs to do, you're going to measure it. And that's what women do. They treat us like children. What happens when men get sick? We break down, boy. It could be a little flu. The whole planet stops. Women get sick, they still take care of you. Take care of the house. Take care of you. These are the things. This is why village is so important. This is why village is so important, because when I bring my woman around, I'm bringing her around the whole family, around the Courtneys, the aunties, the Sir Hales, the Bro Clarence, the OLA. I'm sitting her down and watching her how see how they move, because this is going to be family, and that's what's so important. Family.
Yeah, I think the two sides of the conversation that I want to see if I can help us bring home. See, I love what Sahil has just submitted. And thank you, brother Clarence, for helping me land that plane. I forgot to land that plane. You're absolutely correct. That in spite of all of that, we have to bring grace. That's the only way. That's the only way anyone will go past 5 years. Anyway, So I'm starting to understand the side of the conversation about community, the black community, black community, there's certain things we have to be intentional about,
Mm-hmm.
and come together. Like, we know that if we start to create this division, like, we're not helping the community as a whole. So I'm starting to understand that part. I gravitate more towards what you gentlemen just spoke to, which is the element of desire. If you try to force this thing out of people, right? If you don't find the balance between, yes, you want to build a community, but also you want to make sure that there's honest and there's authentic desire, it's still going to backfire. Because you have people that they try that and they also get 3-4 years down, because the truth is that we don't live in that kind of society. So we, as gentlemen, as the leaders of this society, I think what we're looking for is the balance between, yes, duty, honor, all these things, right? And you still want this person to have a desire to be there, because the honest truth, I said that earlier, is that they do have power of choice. Now, we can argue that it's a false sense of options, right? But that's what we're dealing with. When people swipe, they have that false sense of options, but then they may be swiping for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years before they realize that, wait, that wasn't real options. So those are some of the conversations that I definitely want to continue to be a part of. But I'm honored to be here to hear all of this among you gentlemen. Thank you so much, because I knew it that all of this stuff was in this community, but I was like, oh man, but it's not entertaining enough, right?
No, it's absolutely entertaining. What do you mean?
Yeah, this is amazing. And I'm thankful for
it's
everyone.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm thankful for everyone on here, and especially the experience and the married folks. And that's what I think a lot of times we're missing too. I ain't never been on a panel with so many married people. I'm used to single ladies. We singing Beyonce. Oh, the single ladies.
It's just me and you, Courtney. It's just me and you.
It feels really good. I don't know if you guys understand how powerful you are and how inspirational you are and how I am just inspired. So, I mean, go ahead on.
Courtney,
y'all think I'm playing. I'm over here writing all the gems down, okay? I'm not playing with y'all.
Just watch the video back.
Yeah,
I'm clipping all this because y'all, this is absolutely wonderful. So, go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
So I just wanted to say this other thing. Listen, I'll watch all of y'all. Like I got a budget in my bank account for how I'm gonna send everybody a cash app. So I really rock with y'all, and I mean that. I'm saying it jokingly, but I mean that. I really support what we're doing. I think it's beautiful, and I really love this. I just want to say this to our community at large. The goal is not to box men in, box women in. The goal is not for women to pretty yourself up to take what you want from a man. The goal ain't for a man to level up to take what he wants out of a woman. What we're trying to do is to get the best out of each other. Right. I think sometimes that message gets lost in translation because of all of the other stuff, but we are trying to get the best out of each other. And there's a way to do that. And so when I watch people like I Am Courtney, I watch TJ, I'll be there Saturday. I love my Saturday morning. It's my thing now. It's going to be up to us going forward to set the stage that when we see somebody who's acting out of character, because when you're correcting behavior, change seems bad. Even if the change is something you're doing, it's good. And I think as a community, we have to start, as a Black community, we have to start focusing on pulling the best out of each other. I'm trying to get the best out of my wife. I'm not trying to limit her. Us fellas, we're trying to get the best out of our wives. Wives, being feminine is how you get the best out of your husband. And it's going to sound foreign to a lot of you because a lot of us men, we did not see a man in our life. And our strength, our vicious strength, the strength that if something happened to you, we would rip somebody apart without a second thought to protect you, that in its strength, we are afraid of because we don't know how to tame it. We don't know if it's healthy. We don't know if it's normal. And so a lot of ladies, you might see a guy, you might be with a guy who he seems passive. And a lot of times we think quiet men are passive, and that's not really what that is. Sometimes the strongest men are the ones who don't say them, who don't say a lot, right? And what we're doing is we're trying to awaken up the leadership in men.
And I got one.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so
strong silent
and we're
type.
trying to awaken that strength in men because it's no longer about does he got the biggest Johnson? Does he have the flashiest car? Does he have the biggest house? He's got to have some character of heart. There were some men that can sex you down and would run in a moment of a crisis. And so I think if you're looking for a man, you have to begin to look for these characteristics. And what we're doing is we're trying to invoke and say that men, it's okay to be leaders, and that we need our women not to push back on us to make it what's normal and natural to us seem like it's a bad thing, because the men are going to try to please their woman. And if you buck up against us and fight us, it makes us go into a shell and not be all that we can be for you. So I'm saying this to say, let's as a community work on getting the best out of each other. And if this means we need our women, like, listen, and let me tell you something. There ain't nothing, listen to me carefully. Ain't nothing like a cute woman with them clackety clack shoes on with that little switch. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I'm telling you, it ain't got to be every day, but every now and again, and it's that energy when he comes home and he get a kiss. You know, you get the ladies, he come home and you pull him close, you give him a little kiss on the cheek and say, baby, how was your day doing? And give him a second to unwind, rub his shoulders a little bit, right? Bring him a little sandwich or whatever he like and his favorite cold drink, and let that man relax. You will get whatever you want out of that man just by simply understanding the mental space he's in, and with grace and wisdom knowing how to speak to him. So while I talk to the guys
Did you mean fix him a plate?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a sandwich guy. Get me a turkey sandwich. Listen to me. Give me a turkey sandwich. Come on, what? A double meat turkey sandwich with some bacon, with hot peppers, some mayo on wheat bread. What?
He just told his wife what he wanted.
Right,
She's in the background making it right now.
Right.
Yeah, what I'm saying is when we do this and we work to get the best out of each other, it's what Bolo said. We learn to trust one another. Like we learn I can trust you. You're not out to take something from me. I'm not worried about you leaving me. I'm not worried about somebody else on the side. I trust you. I can trust you because nobody invests somewhere that they don't intend on being. And so when I'm kind to you and I'm sowing into you, I'm investing into you. And so if I don't tell you I love you every day, you don't have to base your love off my words. You can base my love off of my investment, because my actions show you just how I feel about you. So as it is for me and sowing into the women, it's the same thing with women sowing into the men. Your investment tells that person whether or not you love and respect them.
That's
and as
right.
a community, we got to start investing into one another. So
Yeah.
I gotta go invest in my family, take her to get some
Oh.
stuff. But I love y'all, man. Love y'all.
Love
Thank you for having me.
so much.
I love you, brother. Let me just say this.
Right now.
You know, we like to hear ourselves speak, you know, and there's nothing more beautiful than hearing the Father talk, because, you know, we can't argue with that, right? So I'm going to read 1 Peter 3:7. It's short. It's not long, so it won't be one of them long bolo sermons. It says, likewise, husbands, because here's the thing that's so crazy what Sir Ho says, that we go out there and we search for a wife. But the beauty in the way the Lord speaks pictorially, that not only are we going out there to find a wife, she needs to find a husband. That's what that scripture is saying without saying it. Yeah, you're going to find a wife. What is she supposed to find? Someone that's not ready? Someone that's not ready to pick up the responsibility? So it says, likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. How do I live with my wife in an understanding way? By communicating, by dealing with, by talking to her, by reverencing her the way Christ reverenced us. That's why Christ says, husbands, love your wives like I love the church, not like you love the church. Not like you. Go off my standard, because my standard is the best standard, right? So you have to communicate with her. Then he says, showing honor to your woman as the weaker vessel. Understand, showing honor, dealing with her, understanding her, being with her in that spirit, right? Then he says, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life. Understand those words. They are heirs with us. We're joint heirs. We're not doing this by ourselves. So when these men kick that, you know, you got to bow down, don't work that way. They are heirs with us. We're walking in through this together. Because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. So that your prayers may not be hindered. So if you don't deal with your wife in an understanding way and honor her as the weaker vessels, your prayers won't be answered. And by your prayers not being answered, you're going to be unable to cover your house, cover your home, pray for your woman, pray for your children. It doesn't work that way. So we have to understand that there's rules to this, and we have to obey those rules.
Yeah, I like that. Y'all took us to church, a well-needed church. I like that. So let me ask you a question, you guys on the panel and ladies. With the whole April Mason thing and the going back and forth, and what she said and her terminology that she used, that we're going back and forth, but we can agree that some of the stuff that she said was right. What do you think is the biggest takeaway that women such as I can learn from this situation, whether April Mason or the pushback that she got? What is it that single Black women that are desiring to find a husband, or for the husband to find them, what is the key takeaway that we need to learn from this?
Is she married?
She's divorced.
Leave her alone.
Wow. Come on, Bolo.
He said it. I wasn't going to say it, but he said it.
You, my
No, I
G.
think she got some good
If I got a
information.
problem with alcohol, I ain't gonna talk to an alcoholic. Let's be real.
Yeah,
It's 100%. I'm not saying that you can't learn nothing from some. Listen, I can learn something from a fool.
right.
How not to be one. So you have to understand something, that you have to be intentional in the people that you set up around you. This is why the Lord says that the righteous should not keep house with the wicked, because your vibe attracts your tribe. If you hang out with 11 broke people, sooner or later you become the 12th. So if Courtney is a crackhead and I'm an alcoholic, there better be crack and alcohol at that party, or we're not going together. Two cannot walk if not be agreed. So for us to walk together, we have to agree on something. So this is the thing that the enemy does. He gives you partial truths. He gives you partial truths to entice you. So some of the things that he or she might say might make sense, but when you look at the overall picture, don't think Satan will tell you the truth, G. How does he get you to believe? He tells you the truth in that first instance, and once you believe him, that's the bigger picture, is the lie. So we have to accept the scorpion for what it is, right? I'm not saying that a woman can't voice her opinion and say what she's saying, but at the end of the day, I'm going to look at the bigger picture. I'm not going to look at a snapshot. That is our problem. We're always dealing with sight and not vision. We need to have vision. So when we talk to other people, if I don't know something, I'm coming to TJ, I'm coming to Courtney, I'm coming to Bro, and I'm coming to OLA. Tell me about this so I can get a better picture. Survey the land. This is why the general is always at the top. He's not at the bottom with the grunts. He's sitting there with the satellite picture so that he can make the best decision. So if we get emotional and always move, understand what emotion does. There is no context to emotion. There is no perspective to emotion. You're an emotional animal. And when you're in your emotions, you react, you don't respond. So we want to live in our spiritual creature, the mental and the spiritual, so that we can respond. That's the issue. We want to stay in cognitive thought that deals with truth, not in fear.
Bolo,
Yes,
Bolo. Someone in the chat wrote, so do you have that same energy towards Kevin Samuels?
Who do I?
With respect to telling Courtney to leave her alone because of I guess the result.
She's not married.
Hell
she's
yeah.
not married.
I'm an equal opportunity shooter.
Speak on it.
So the point that I'm making to you, I'm gonna say, is he married? No. Okay, well, we can learn from his mistakes. The same way we can learn from her mistakes. It doesn't mean that they're gone. It doesn't. No, there's some information that he learned going through his divorce that I haven't learned because I'm not divorced. So I can sit down with the man and say, yo, tell me the mistakes that you made so that I don't make them. The same way a woman can walk to her and say, tell me the mistakes that you made so that I don't make it. The problem comes in is if they don't learn from their mistakes. If they continue down that rabbit hole, I'm good. I don't need to understand it. I don't
just
want
so we're
to
clear,
understand.
you disagree with him or you agree with him?
Well, or
vice versa.
What was he saying? Because
no, I'm just talking about as far as this marriage versus unmarried and seeking advice and counsel from people who might be unmarried. So I think the difference comes when April is giving advice to women, Kevin's also giving advice to women. So the fact that they're not married might mean different things. I don't know.
Kevin is giving advice to women who think that they know what men want. In other words,
Mhm.
meaning if I'm the if I am the if I'm the seller, I need to know what the people want so that I can sell it to them. Right? It don't make no sense. I'm not going to cook the food the way I want to cook it and think that they're going to eat it. I got to get my ears to the streets and understand what they want so that I can have my business run flourishly, right? So what he's saying in certain situations, I don't watch him all the time, but the times that I've had seen him, when he has women up, they have their own thought process of what they think a man would want, and he's telling you no. The same way with the man, when we go into what a woman wants, we're not giving you what we think you want. We're giving you what we know you want. So
Right.
I'm
So his
not
points are
talking to you.
valid then. His points are
Right.
valid.
There's certain points, the points that I've heard him make, there's certain points that are valid. Then there's certain points that I don't rock with. Because the thought process that I come in with is if a woman is going to bow down her ear, or if a man is going to bow down his ear to hear you, a 2-minute clip or 2-minute session doesn't help that person.
Yeah, and as
You
far
dig what I'm saying?
and as
So,
far as I'm concerned, he's quick enough to tell people to go seek therapy. So that's good
and
enough for me.
that's the biggest takeaway. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna say, yo, Duke, listen, talk therapy is the best therapy for you. Now, if you're gonna come and you're gonna ask me a question, he's unapologetically straight to the point. You know, and the one thing the Lord tells you is be tenderhearted. And in this day and age, I know it's hard to be because we're so hard-headed, right? But at the same time, the Lord still says, man, you understand if you turn that person away, that blood is on your hands. Now, whether you subscribe to that or not, it's cool. But we have to understand that just because we don't know the Lord doesn't mean that we ain't gonna be punished by it. So, and that's the point. So if someone is coming, I can still be straight to the truth, but trying to be tenderhearted with them so that they receive it. Now, again, there are some people that need to be slapped, and I'm talking figuratively, I'm not talking about literally. There are some people, so you need to know who you're speaking to, and he knows his audience, right? So those types of people that need to be talked to stern, he's going to do that. Those that need to be talked to softly, he's going to do that. At least I would hope he would do that. But that's why the Most High says, to the strong I become strong, to the weak I become weak. I can't give meat to a baby. They're going to spit it out. And
Yeah,
then
I think that's
I'm
the
sorry.
price of admission as well. A lot of these women are looking for the wrong things first and
Exactly.
foremost. They're looking for
Right.
money. They're looking for the material, and so in order to enter into that space, you have to be almost on the wrong page, and so therefore, he brings you that information. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know,
Right.
And
If
Mr.
you're
Fawcett,
looking
that's what I call being growed real.
right,
road real.
yeah,
he
you're
he
being
grows
grown up
He
real.
real.
grow, yeah,
If
yeah.
you're going, if
They
you're
got to
coming
grow
in
up real right now. It's
real
time to grow
fast,
up. It's that time.
if you're going to him and you're only coming in the aspect of bread or whatever, then that's the perfect dude to go to.
Hmm.
He's the perfect man to go to if that's the aspect of a relationship that you are seeking. Because seldomly have I heard him. I've heard him speak spiritually, but it's far and in between when he's talking to these women and talking to these men. It's far and in between. No one talks to say, yo, listen, man, I've been tripping. Please help me grow spiritually in my integrity, my character, and help me to get to that point. They don't come to him for that. They come and say, man, how can I get my weight up? I need me a shorty. And he gives you that answer because that's what you came for. You didn't come for tangible spiritual answers that's going to last you a lifetime. You came for something that's going to last you a short time. That's what you want. So that's what he's going to give you.
Well, all right then.
Yes,
I'll give
sir.
you my answer, Courtney. I'd like to give you my answer for your question. Your question was,
Okay. Yes.
what can single women learn from the April Mason situation?
Hmm.
And what I say is, you know, look at her situation, look at her results, and look at sister like TJ's results,
Hmm.
and then sister TJ would lap April Mason. She would lap her, right? So why not listen to sister TJ
Right.
instead of April? I mean, not to say that there's no nuggets in there. You're gonna find nuggets wherever you look. You're gonna find some nuggets. But what I'm saying
Hmm.
is the overall situation. You know, which person would you rather take flying lessons from? A person that has crashed a couple of times and never really flown a complete air flight, or somebody who has years of experience flying a plane and been in that cockpit and has been up in the air and has made it and landed a bunch of different times at a bunch of different destinations. You obviously want the person who has the actual flight experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in relationships, we listen to the exact opposite people, right? When we try to put in relationships, we listen to somebody who we can't verify their results. We can't look at them and say, "Oh yeah, well, and they don't give us the ins and outs of why they're not in a relationship and what's going on and everything. We don't look at all of that stuff. We just look at them. Oh, they got a big following on YouTube. They got a big following on Instagram, so they must be saying something right. When it might be some other things that's drawing that the people in, instead of actually the knowledge and experience and good information. So if I was a single lady, my intention was to get married in the near future, I would be listening to somebody like TJ, who would literally lap April Mason, could sit April Mason down in the seat and teach her some stuff. That's my opinion.
But it's all about asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Brother Bola, just 1 second, honey. I thank you for that. I'm just going to say, though, about 5 or 6 years ago, I think I came across April Mason stuff on my Facebook page. And it's important to know 5 to 6 years ago, I wasn't married. Okay. 5 or 6 years ago, I was in still bad relationships, culminating in the relationship that left me physically and emotionally bruised.
Wow.
So there were some things that I learned from her. So to that point, in those things, and not knowing about her following, but just listening to what Bolo's saying, listening to the nuggets that I could apply to my life. And I think one of the challenges is we look to these individuals like people look to pastors. We do, but what can you take something of what they're saying and say, and examine yourself? Because I had to do that. And I'm not going to say I just jump on the bandwagon of everything she says, no more than I jump on the bandwagon of what Kevin says, but I definitely learned some things from her. I learned some things about me that I was projecting, i.e., I was leading with my degrees, my education, me being a military officer, leading with something that I had no idea that men didn't care about. So, and it was because of those things that I found myself in that abusive relationship, because I thought somehow I was kind of giving off that I was somehow better. So I say that, and she has this revelation. She's 40 something and she's been doing over 10 years. So she's ahead of me because I'm 54. And so you see what I'm saying? So even though her process continues, I'm not saying that we should take everything she says hook, line, and sinker, but she definitely has something to say about not just acting feminine, but being feminine. And I think what she is saying, and again, I people can disagree with me, and that's fine, but she is saying, and I believe it, you have to do the work. And I'm not talking about money, none of that. I'm talking about that inner work. The inner work, so you can be able to identify a good man. I'm not talking about high value man, because if a high value man ideally is a good man. So, but they're not the only good men. So sir.
So TJ, can I say one thing about what you're saying? I'm going to go back finish.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is what they don't tell you. A good woman can take any man and turn him into a high value man. A good woman can do that. If she got enough of God's wisdom and understanding in her, and she's good with herself, she can take a good man, and take any man and turn him in, any man that's willing to learn. Let me put it like that, because you can't take Pookie and Ray Ray and turn them into good. So let me qualify what I'm saying.
No Pookie and Ray Ray too.
Well, I don't know. That's going to be
Pookie and Ray need some love.
A lot more work. But
remember this too,
a man
high
that
value
wants to listen. A man that wants to listen and wants to learn and respects you enough that he trusts you and what you're saying. You can take him and you can also make him into a high value man. I'm sorry, Sister TJ. Go ahead, please finish.
No. Well, April Mason said that in her conversation with TLA.
She said what?
She said the exact same thing you said. She said what these women are not understanding or knowing is that you take that 45K man be feminine, be, what he needs you to be, and he'll skyrocket. She said 200K.
Yes.
See, you know what the problem is? What happens?
Also, we got to remember, just because you're a high value man, don't mean that you're a man of high value.
Hey.
I mean, we can flip this back and forth and throw it into all kind of balloon.
But the thing is this, that we like bro said, we need to understand that women play a big part in our growth as well as men play a big part in their growth. We need to understand that. And a lot of us are, trying to shut that portion of the conversation down and say it's just about us when it's not. We both grow each other, as Auntie TJ will say.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say one thing about the abuse. Most men, this is why most men are abusive most of the time. Other than the fact that they're underdeveloped, they're abusive because the woman that comes in and says, I have this degree, I have that, they see that as a challenge to their authority. So the only way they can establish they constantly feel like they have to reestablish their dominance, and sometimes they can't do it verbally, so they try to do it physically. That's why I say, it's better to just lead with your fifth. God gave you a gift, a tool to use, which is femininity. If you use that tool, that will disarm the average guy. If you got somebody that's just not right upstairs, that might be a little different. But the average guy, nothing works better than femininity to get the average guy to get on your program or at least follow you.
Well, but I had to learn that. And again, so to the question that Courtney asked, I think single women can learn some things from April. And in addition to that, though, take what you glean from her, but also connect with a woman who is married if that's what you want to be.
Right. Very important.
Yes. Okay. Hey, Uncle Stu, welcome to the chat.
Uncle Stu.
I just came off of one, came back on the one. Let me push back on Brother Clarence.
What's up, OG? Good to see you, man.
Good seeing you, everyone. Bolo TV, my beloved JT in the house. TJ.
Uncle Stu.
Big Uncle, what's big Uncle? What's going on, baby? Drop some jewels.
Clarence, I'm going to push totally back on you. Don't you ever say, this is my strength. Don't ever say a woman is justified to be abused or to be the abuser. Because you talking to a man.
I don't believe I said that. I just want to stop you. I don't believe I said that. But if I did,
but I want to say, let us never.
He didn't say that. I have to interject. He didn't say that at all.
Oh, okay. I thought he said that was why men abuse women because of them having things and trying to keep her in control. Did I miss that?
Let me restate it.
Okay.
I said that some men, besides being underdeveloped, they see a woman that has different degrees or different accomplishments, that the woman is always stating these accomplishments, thinking that she's impressing the man or getting in good with him. He will, a lot of those type of guys will see that as a threat to their dominance. They see that as a threat to their authority. And so if they can't verbally shut that down, they will then go into this physical thing. And I never said it was a good thing or it was justified or anything like that. That's all I was saying. I was just making that statement there.
Oh, okay.
So I see you, Uncle Stu, warming up the steamroller, about to steamroll me, man. So I
was about to go in the third shift. See how women can calm a man down. See, I felt that vibe from TJ. Shit.
TJ, look at TJ face.
And see, TJ would have got on the phone and been like, Uncle Stu, will you shut your mic off?
Look at TJ's face.
Look at TJ's face.
Thank you, TJ, for pulling me out the water.
Feminine power. That was feminine power right there.
Marine was coming out. That Marine was coming out, baby.
Right, yes, it was.
Uncle Stu was about to put on the.
Yeah, I seen him put his vampire teeth in. He was about to get me, boy. It's all Brother Stu. Brother Stu, why don't you clean
based
up?
on based on
man?
what I heard,
yes, sir.
You know, it's very sensitive for me to say that a woman can grow a man. I think it really needs to be articulated in a different way. For me, a man already has to be a man. He has to come in with the tools and the right way of using those tools. He already has to be on his knowledgeable purpose, his grind, and his whole healthy self. Why? Because when he comes in fully healthy, and he been through the process of becoming a full healthy man, then he doesn't worry about the woman, the womb of man. Because God, if you're using scripture, remember the scripture says that Adam was here, and when he was here, it said he was so busy doing what he had to do that God had to put him to sleep. He formed him a woman, and he brought the woman onto the man. Why? And he says, this will be your helpmate. In order for a woman to help a man be a better or multiplier, he already has to be doing the work. So let me use me as the example, because I hate to put it on other men. For me as the example, I was already in the process of doing the work of a man. I was already building the foundation of a man and was building the building already. So the only thing my woman was able to do was she saw where I was going. She knew where I was going. So what was she able to do? Take some of the weight off of me. That way I can concentrate on other areas of building. And that's where she understood submission. How did it reciprocate? It reciprocated because she saw the fruits of not only my labor, but her labor. And therefore, the labor that she had to do, she realized she did not have to do. She doesn't pay a single bill in my house, not one. She recognized that the strength of a man is to do what? Cover the hole. And because I had everything covered, she was able to go through the fire, the storm, and the rain without any worries. She was able to go through it in total peace. She recognized that I have developed, by the grace of God, a network of people that was able to surround her. She was more surrounded by the connections I had than the very connections she had. I'm not bragging or boasting. I'm just doing what a man's supposed to do. And I think that when we get to learning, we have to be able, like I learned in the military, you can learn from bad leaders as well as good leaders. You can learn from people who are the alcoholics as much as you can learn from the ones that's able to run a marathon. Why? Because everybody has something to teach you. The problem is that what we're doing is we're not recognizing our own self and then becoming authentic. What makes TJ different? What makes Courtney different? I'm just going to use these two women. It's not that they got all this knowledge. It's not that they got all this femininity. It is you get to see the process of what that looks like. Many people don't have an example. We're preaching to people. We call ourselves teaching the people, but no one sees the example. Some people learn by reading a book. Others got to see it physically, while others got to do the work in order to understand what's happening. I told a young lady who's trying to, if you want to call it, reinvent her life. And I said, well, go follow Courtney Michelle. And she was like, huh? I said, why? I said, because you need to see what that looks like and the process of going from something that was mess to something that is blessed. I can sit up there and tell you how to do it all day long, but you got to see the work that has been placed. You'll always hear me say, and TJ's been waiting on this video, and I promise I'm going to do it. But she knows one of the things I always say is, pardon my expression, how the hell you go from a military officer to a submissive wife? A lot of people don't understand that. So I'm sitting here waiting on the book. A lot of people that ain't never been in the military don't understand what that means. This is a woman that can lead you, train to lead men into combat without dropping a tear. This is a different mind frame. And then to go and sit on the camera and be kissed by her man and look like a little 16-year-old girl talking about, oh, nah. Y'all want to learn manhood? That's where you go. You say, yo, truck driver, can you tell me how to do that? Can you tell me how to be the man that can make a officer in the military kiki like a little girl? And that's the type of man I want to be. Do you understand? So, or do you want to be the man where he'll sit on a platform and tell you how to be a man? But guess what? Can you get his woman on the phone so we can know if that's the truth or not? See, I can speak this way because you heard TJ say she could do this. She got direct access to the woman that's in my house. So she can know, oh, Uncle Stu lying. Girl,
I was like, get him. Get him.
Do you understand? So the reality is, you know, Brother Clarence, I think that, and I'm going to come from a church, a pastor, and someone that's just had to go through the process, right? The pastor in the church in me says, we don't show people nothing. We all lip service. We all theories. We all philosophies. We're all points of whatever you want to call it. But how many of us is willing to pour ourselves and say, this is what we used to be. This is the process we came through. And this is who we are now. You feel me? And I'm going to be blunt. I had someone, and it's on Courtney's page, who came after me, basically saying that my generation did stuff that I didn't even know we was doing. But he has no clue of my backstory. Mm-hmm. He had no clue. He had no clue that you're talking to a black man that was accused of being a father at the age of 25, raised him, and turned around, gave him my name, and 6 months later found out it was a lie. But by that time, I done had a child. You understand? You don't know what it's like to raise your hand and go into the military. No. You don't know what it's like to raise a child. And you don't know what it's like to hold up a woman that lost a child. So understand who you talking to. You understand what I'm saying? So TJ and Courtney, to me, are women who has poured themselves out where you know who they are. I'm sorry, did I talk too long, TJ?
Yeah.
Now, TJ saw something she wants to respond to.
In love, bro. Would you read that comment? I want to see what Big Bad
Yeah,
was
she saw something she wanted to respond to. I knew she would. I bring this up.
Uh-oh.
Hold up, stop. Can the ladies state whether or not they deem themselves as complete or certifiable role models yet? Or are they still works in progress, respectfully?
All right.
You know,
ladies.
I don't consider myself to be a role model. I consider myself just to be Terry. And if someone learns something from that, then that's wonderful. One of the things I pride myself on is that at this point in my life, I can only be who I am. And I can tell you, but with that, I am going back to that phrase, self-actualized. I am more self-actualized now as basically a housewife than I was when I was a senior person in the federal government, than when I was in the military as a military officer. I am more self-actualized in this role as wife, mother, grandmother. It's because I had to understand where my value came from, and it wasn't what I was doing. It wasn't in my education. So If that makes me a role model, that's great. But what I'd like to pride myself on, I am wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I just shared with y'all that I considered taking my life at the beginning of in May. I shared with y'all, on my channel, the mistakes I made with my daughter, thinking I was showing her one thing, but showing her something else. So if that makes me a role model to help you all women learn, don't do it this way, I'll accept that. But I am still growing every day. I am still seeking and learning about myself every day, because this thing, this life is a education each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
But what I come to say is that, I'm not trying to present like I got it all together, because I don't. But I'm better today than I was 3 years ago. And that should be an encouragement to let women know, I can't promise you marriage because I couldn't promise it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I did what I needed to do, like Miss April was talking about, to get myself together. So when I came across Mr. Randolph and he didn't click on my profile, because we met online. He didn't click on my profile to reach out to me, but I saw that he had looked at me and I said, hey, I sent him a text. Hey there.
Hey, hey, hey.
So,
Shoot
and
your
then
shot.
I shot my shot.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And so in that case, if that's what makes it, I'll be that. But I was speaking with a young lady today and she said, oh, I'm speaking with a superstar. I said, no. No. I said, I'm a middle-aged woman who lives this life and try to help and make an impact where I can. That's who I am. So
Yeah.
that's all I got.
I don't think none of us is going to be perfect until we go home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what gives us a reason.
Uncle Stu, let Courtney answer, babe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was to the women.
But good point nonetheless, Uncle Stu.
Yeah. Right. And well, I'm just gonna piggyback on TJ. So for me, I've never claimed to be anything. All I said, I have traditional views and I've made mistakes. However, I'm using this platform to be transparent. So if someone is in a situation like me, look what I did and try not to do it or take something from that. But am I a role model? No, I've never claimed to be, nor do I really want to be. It's just, I saw in this sphere where there's a lot of women telling you what to do, but you don't know nothing about them. There's a lot of women that say you should do this and act this way. Well, are you? I've since day one I've been on here. I told y'all, well, I'm trying to get it together. And I'm grateful for this platform. And I think I said this before, like God put people in your life for particular reasons. And I don't care if it's from down the street or YouTube, how YouTube and how this platform in the manosphere has brought me together with some amazing people. Like, look at this platform. I met TJ through this. I would have never known her if I wasn't on here. So I'm not even on here really speaking to y'all. Most of the time I'm speaking to myself. And I'm meeting people that is pouring into me, and I'm learning and getting grown every day, being held accountable every single day. So this is, TJ said it's therapeutic for her. And I'm going to have to say it is for me. I learned so much. So am I a role model? Absolutely not. Am I someone that can be transparent and honest? I absolutely am. And if you can take from that, do. If you can't, then don't. I'm just here telling my story. And that's all.
Yeah, it's the idea of documenting and not creating. Like
That's
nobody's perfect. Like let's just say that.
Yeah.
But witnessing somebody evolve, grow, that's a beautiful thing to watch. And then somebody can look back at you 5, 10 years from now and be like, yeah, look how the new Oprah is acting, was acting back then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, I gotta take off. But
Yeah.
thank you for having
Thank
me.
you
This
so
has
much
been a
for
great
joining. I
panel.
appreciate it.
Before you go, I
uploaded.
wanted to say, Mr. Fawcett, thank you. And I've got to go because Mr. Randolph is about to be in.
Yeah, we're about to wrap
Okay.
up, you guys.
I got to get ready.
But
Everybody take it off.
before
Real quick.
everybody goes, shout
So-
out your page.
Yeah, sorry, real quick. Fawcett, I'm gonna come on your channel so you can teach me sign languages. Deal? Deal?
All right. First off, it's not plural. It's singular.
See, he stays on it. My guy.
It's not.
All right.
It's sign language.
So
Yeah.
shout out your show before you head out.
Okay. I'm Fawcett Media. I got a channel, Fawcett Media. Do reactions. I do all types of stuff. But this week is special because it was my birthday on Wednesday. And,
Happy belated.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, man.
I appreciate it. But so Sagittarius season. But I also have been experimenting with more narrative forms. I'm actually an actor by trade, so I'm actually acting on my channel. So go check me out.
Oh, nice.
So the last 2 uploads, I can't figure out which one I want to keep. Trying different thumbnails and stuff, and trying to see how it's going to go. But yeah, check it out. It's something I did a few years back that I finally got around to editing. So thank you for having me, Courtney.
Well, thank you, and thank you for joining. And I'll be sure to check you out, actor. I call myself a thespian as well.
Oh yeah? Oh, we got a collab then. I see it.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
All right. TJ, you got to go to your man. So shut your channel out. I've been scrolling it, but go ahead.
I am Mosaic with TJ Randolph, and I talk pretty much the stuff that I'm talking about now. And on Saturdays, me and my daughter chop it up, and we talk about different things and topics that are going on. And Mondays, I have my cocktails and conversations with different guests. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to help youngins and seasoned ones like myself turn the tide.
There you go. TJ Mosaic.
Awesome. Auntie TJ.
Yes, I'll be tuning in tomorrow. Saturdays. Those are my Saturdays. Bye, TJ. Brother Clarence, shout out your show. Where can we find you?
Okay, I'm at Let's Talk to Better Black Life podcast. You just type that in to the search bar, and it'll probably bring us up. And we just talk about different things specifically related to Black men and women, but we cover a lot of different stuff. But our major focus is trying to help these young Black men do better, so that we can have better relationships and better, have our community do better. But we're focusing through the men. But we do reaction videos, and on Sunday mornings we do a live stream, and we had a Black History Minute and a news and hit parade, and so we do a lot of different stuff. But like I said, it's mostly directed to improving the Black community.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. I appreciate you, Courtney. Thank you. Congratulations.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. This was an impromptu live, and y'all made it. Y'all made me a dope chick. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. Hopefully I can come back and visit you again.
I would hope so.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. For sure.
Okay. See you. Thank you.
That's the OG.
Uncle Sue, shut your stuff out. You already know.
This is Uncle Stu, the old man on the block, and most of my channel is mostly about empowering men and getting women to understand the man that they want to love and be with. See, I did a 30-second pitch. See?
What?
Nice.
Y'all better record that. Y'all know I don't talk short like that.
Elevator pitch, right? Right on.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Stu, for pop it up here.
Definitely.
I appreciate you every time you do.
And give my number from TJ.
I will. Did Kay hit you up?
Not yet.
Okay, don't worry. I got words for her. But yes, I sent your information, so she got it.
Okay, because tell her I already got my hashtag ready. I survived.
I'm about to get my shirt ready. I survived K. I
survived K. All right, take care.
Nice.
You too.
Awesome.
And
all right.
Last but not least.
Thank you so much. I had such a good time. I'm glad I came up.
Me too.
It's very nice meeting you, and I will definitely be coming back. I hit you up already on Instagram, so definitely. My platform, my main platform is a platform that I do with my wife. It's called Lola and Ola. And just like what we said, we just having this conversation as we go. We have a lot of experience. But we're just sharing, we're talking, we're chopping it up. That's what we do on that channel. We're doing it for 3 years now. I just started Man of Prestige so I can, because I realized that marriage conversation is a little bit different this conversation on this side, I wanted to be a big part of it. So I started building something that was fresh, which is Men of Prestige. And, we're going to keep talking here. What I try to tell the gentlemen is that we will figure this out together. So, yeah.
We
So,
will.
yeah. So I'm so happy that I came here. I can't wait to meet Kay too, So,
Oh,
yeah.
she was on here on Wednesday. Kay was Kaying it up. You missed it. I'm gonna have a
Oh,
backup horse, but Kay was Kaying.
tell her I said what's up. She's
I
my
definitely
Nigerian
will.
sister.
Yes.
She don't speak much to that, but we'll keep speaking it for her. So, but nice to meet everyone in the chat. This was awesome. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you popping up. I'll respond, of course, check you and your wife out, and then
Yes.
come back.
Yeah. I will be coming back.
Yeah, you see,
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've always said this is our show. This ain't me, and I like hearing and learning, honestly, more than running my mouth. So I appreciate it.
This is so natural. You're in your element.
Hmm.
You feel free.
I
You know.
love
So,
it. I
and
can't stop
I know.
listening.
Yeah, I know you got value to bring to the space. So definitely. So I'll be
Yeah.
coming back. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Nice to
then
meet you.
we will chat up. Nice to meet you, and
All right.
we'll talk. Thank you so much.
Talk soon. Bye.
Bye. Well, this was very impromptu. I just saw that today and I said, well, let me do a little live. And then I started talking to TJ on the phone, and TJ was like, girl, let's get on there and grow them. And I said, come on, sis, let's go ahead and do it. So this has absolutely been amazing. Every single person that came up, every single person that is in the chat, showing love, commenting, going back and forth. Oh my God, Sir Hell, Bolo, Uncle Stu, TJ. We had some heavy hitters, heavy preaching words of gems, jewels. It was amazing. And thank you guys so much. Tonight was a complete vibe for me. So, this April Mason thing with Kevin Samuels, TLR, the lead attorney, excuse me. We're going to see where this goes, and I'm going to be there, and we'll see if she claps back again, because if she do, I'm going to pull it up. So thank you for tuning in. Regularly, I'm on Wednesdays, so check me out on Wednesdays, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And again, I always like to say this is not just my show, it's our show. And this wouldn't be popping if it wasn't for y'all. So thank you so much for dropping in. You guys have a wonderful Friday, a great weekend. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you.